4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To the Hick at Night Show. Here's Ryan Hickey.
And welcome on in to Hick at Night. Ryan Hickey with you here on this Sunday. Welcome. Appreciate you making us a part of your night right here. Where else but CBS Sports Radio? Hope the weekend's been fun, enjoyable, profitable. Whatever it is that you did these last 48 hours, hopefully it was good and fun. Thank you for winding down your weekend with us right here. Ryan Hickey, Hick at Night on CBS Sports Radio. Speaking of fun, one thing I love about college sports, and especially college basketball specifically, is court stormings. I love it. I'm a sucker for it. Anytime there's a big-time upset, one of my favorite pastimes that never gets old is seeing the fans of the home team that pulls off the upset rush the floor in jubilation and just celebrate after their team knocks off a hated rival or their team knocks off a top team in the country. It is awesome. It is fun. It is great for the sport of college basketball. So for me, I think they're necessary. I think court storming in college basketball is a necessary part of the sport. So I know there's now been a lot of hand-wringing and a lot of negatives when it comes to court storming after yesterday's incident in which great Duke standout Kyle Filipowski goes down, gets hurt as the Wake Forest students sprint on the floor, knocking him around. And unfortunately, he left the game, or I should say left after the game, injured. And now his status right now, as you said here, is unknown if he'll miss any time and how much time he will miss. I get what we saw yesterday cannot happen. I'm not sitting here advocating for just recklessness, for lawlessness when it comes to students rushing on the floor. But I don't think the answer to what happened yesterday at Wake Forest is banning court storming. I don't think that's the answer. For me, the solution is very simple. Wait 10 seconds. That's it. Buzzer sounds, wait 10 seconds, allow the opponents to get off the floor, and then once they're safely away in the locker room, boom, let the fans erupt. Let them go to center court, have a great time, and celebrate one of the greatest pastimes college basketball has to offer, which is storming the court and celebrating with your team after pulling off a big-time upset. I think there absolutely is a happy medium here where both player safety and also fan excitement can live in the same space. And I really think it's as simple as just waiting 10 seconds. And to demonstrate how simple, how quick it is, and I feel like why you wouldn't even think it's, you wouldn't even recognize it till it's all over is, let's just go through really fast here. Do a quick exercise on how waiting 10 seconds can not only benefit you, but you're losing no steam. You're losing no juice after your team just pulls off a big-time upset. So, role play here, and selfishly, I'll make this about me. I'm wearing my Penn State shirt here today. And Penn State basketball is not very good, so they pull off upsets. So let's pretend here we are all right now at the Bryce Jordan Center. Penn State is playing number 1 Purdue. They're about to pull off the upset. I'm going to pretend I'm on the play-by-play, make the call, and then as soon as I am done, we'll hear a 10-second timer just to show you how quick that time goes by. Players off the court, 10 seconds are up, boom, okay, let's go celebrate. I promise you it is painless. All right, let's get into action here. Everyone, battle stations. 3, 2, and 1. All right, number 1 Purdue on the ropes, down by 5. Penn State dribbling out the clock, 5 seconds left. They are going to pull off the upset. The fans are going crazy. There's the buzzer. Penn State has just beaten number 1 Purdue. And here come the students rushing the court. Jubilation, pandemonium. Penn State has beaten the number 1 team in the country. Go crazy, State College. Go crazy. It's nothing. 10 seconds is the perfect amount of time. Let the players get off the court. Let the coaches get their team now kind of all shuffled into the locker room. And now allow the home fans, allow, the players themselves, the coaches, to bask in what they just did. Beating a top team. That is a great sight for us on TV. It's a great experience for those in the stands. And I think it's a part of college basketball that shouldn't leave. I think there is an absolute happy medium where you can take into account player safety. You can make sure the players are off the court and away from the chaos, while also allowing the fans at the same time to express their energy and their joy of knocking off a top team. We don't have to take away what is one of the best parts of college basketball, watching a home team celebrate an upset. We don't have to take that away because of one injury. We can modify to make sure that doesn't happen again. That's absolutely what should happen going forward. But you can make sure an injury like what happened to Duke on Saturday at Wake Forest does not happen again, while also allowing the home team to celebrate and still allow that awesome scene to occur. I mean, forget about just kind of playing it out like we just did, where I hope you realize 10 seconds is not that long. Allowing the players to get off the court that fast, and then all of a sudden letting the fans go on the court. You can absolutely keep all of your energy, keep all that joy, and still let it spill out after the game is over, after the players are away. But I have already seen this happen in college basketball this year. A few weeks ago, I was on the air actually when this happened. Georgia Tech knocked off, at the time, number 3 North Carolina at Georgia Tech. Now, I'm not sure. The one thing I cannot tell you here is why this happened. But here's what I can tell you. It absolutely happened. The game was 1-point game. UNC drove down to the hoop, missed the shot, end of the game, buzzer sounds, game over, Georgia Tech wins. Now, I'm not sure if the fans waited because they were told or if the fans waited because they were not sure if that play was going to be reviewed for a possible block charge. Because it was a little like there was contact on the final shot, and even myself sitting there kind of waiting, like, is there going to be a whistle? Is there going to be some sort of review? Like, are we going to have foul shots coming? So I could not tell, and I've not seen any evidence or explanation since on if the fans waited because security told them to wait or if they waited because they didn't want to rush the court if there was going to be a review and if there's a chance that UNC was going to be able to take foul shots to tie in and win the game. But either way, what happened was number 3 UNC goes down. Their players beeline, there's no handshake line, right to the locker room. And it literally took 10 seconds. Fans rushed the court. It's one of the greatest scenes we have seen this season in college basketball. It's very easy. It's very doable. All you got to do, forget about the handshake line. By the way, you want to talk about banning something? Don't ban court storming. Ban the handshake line in college basketball. Especially when you're about to have, and fans are about to rush the court. We don't need an extra 2 minutes of the opposing team and the opposing coaches on the court interacting with fans. We don't need that any more time than necessary. Game's over, have them go right to the locker room and allow the home team, the home fans to celebrate. That is, to me, the perfect solution. People that want to ban court storming, and there was a lot of people I saw yesterday on social media, on TV saying, enough is enough, this is ridiculous. How are we letting this happen? I think they're overreacting. Because this is not a black and white issue. Court storming is not either pro or against. Or it's either have it as soon as the buzzer sounds or not have it at all. There's absolutely a happy medium here where you can have both. You can live in a world where the opposing team, and that's their right, by the way, is able to leave the court safely, while also at the same time allowing an opportunity for the home fans to celebrate a big-time win. It's not one or the other. You can absolutely have both here, and I think by just waiting 10, 15 seconds, making sure the home team is, or the away team, is off the court, is the best and easiest way to do it. You're wasting no time. You're still maintaining what is pandemonium and an awesome scene, and you're still allowing that pure celebration, that pure joy to occur and allow for, again, one of the best sights you see on TV. We don't have to end a tradition because one idiot at Wake Forest tried to target one of Duke's best players. Another idiot that I think was an accident but just was out of negligence runs into Caitlin Clark after Ohio State upset Iowa earlier this year and just knocks her over, not out of spite or anger, but out of just pure bliss. Just ignorance is actually probably the better word, just pure ignorance of not realizing what's in front of her. I don't think one or two idiots should ruin it for all of college basketball. And that's why, to me, there's absolutely a happy medium of both. Get the players off the court safely and also allow the home team to celebrate. I really hate to say it, but especially this year, we've seen a lot of upsets, right, in college basketball. It's been top 10 team goes on the road. It's been a lot more losses than we have seen in any other year, that's for sure. It's been chaos right now in college basketball, so we've seen a lot of court stormings. I'll be honest. I am shocked. This is not like we have not seen like a Malice at the Palace 2.0. Like, we have not seen more chaos. Because, like, if you really think about it, the people rushing the court first, and most of the people that are rushing the court in general are college students, right? They're the ones right behind the basket. They're the ones with easy access. They're the ones with the most enthusiasm and excitement. Most of the time, they're banged up, a little too much to drink before the game or during the game. And it's like, it is kind of amazing when you really think about it. 18 and 22-year-old kids, 18 and 22-year-old drunk college kids running on the court after just experiencing the highest of highs where your team upsets a top-ranked college basketball team. And you are now closer than maybe you'll ever be to some of the best basketball players in the country. Because in that 5 to 10 seconds when the other team is leaving the court and you're running on, I mean, name another time where you're going to be that close to a top basketball player. You are running basically right by them. I am honestly shocked that you haven't had more idiots swing, push, taunt, chirp players as they're leaving the court. For how many times it's happened, the fact that really happening twice this year is now the first time we're actually talking about whether court storming should be banned or not. I'm thankful, one, that, we haven't had a Malice at the Palace, basically 2.0. But at the same time, I can't lie, I am surprised. So part of it is a reaction to what we saw on Saturday. Part of it is just honestly, common sense of just like, okay, if you do this enough, eventually maybe all it takes is one bad scene to break out. The last thing you want is an all-out brawl. But I think the solution is very simple. Buzzer sounds, security's there, 10, 15 seconds. Okay, you look over, the other team's in the tunnel. Okay, now you can go. Go nuts, go crazy, go celebrate a big-time win. We can absolutely live in a world where court storming can happen while also at the same time protecting coaches and players to make sure they are not in the middle of that chaos. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. You can tweet me at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 on Twitter. Are you with me, or do you think I'm nuts here? Do you, after what we saw Saturday, that awesome but also scary scene at Wake Forest where fans rush the court, Kyle Filipowski, one of the best basketball players in the country, gets hurt now and his status going forward is unknown. Should that be the end? Should Saturday be the nail in the coffin of court storming in college basketball? If you disagree with what I'm saying, if you disagree that we should still allow it, tell me why. I want to hear your argument of Saturday being the last day in college basketball that running on the court should be allowed. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. David is calling from Buffalo. What's up, David?
Hey, Ryan. How you doing tonight, man?
Good, buddy. What's on your mind?
I appreciate you taking my call tonight. I think the biggest thing that's crazy about this is, we've gone through this whole season of college basketball, and this is, the biggest topic in college basketball. It just shows how much the sport has changed. I mean, to me, obviously, it's a safety issue. It's a definite concern. But to me, we're not even talking about the games or the matchups or, the coaches or the players. We're talking about an issue that happens after the game ends. I mean, so to me, it just shows how much college basketball has changed and how really to most people, most American sports fans and on these bigger radio shows and podcasts and wherever you're at, to me, people wait till March Madness to really talk about it. So it just shows how much the game has really changed.
Yeah, no, David, you're right about that. I appreciate the call, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, the one and done, I think, is in a way hurt college basketball talk on shows like this because for fans, it's hard to know the players, right? They're there for 1 year, and then they're gone. Zion Williamson at Duke was there for 1 year, then gone. You don't have there's not a lot of, stories and buildup of, trials and tribulations. They lost in March Madness this year, but now they're coming back for a vengeance next year. Part of the reason why Caitlin Clark is such a big story in college basketball is because she's there multiple years. She was obviously awesome in leading Iowa to the title game last year. And same thing, by the way, with LSU and Angel Reese. You look at women's college basketball, there are way more storylines and there are more well-known players because they are there for multiple years. So there's stories we can build with their careers. We can now watch and know the players for LSU coming back defending their title. We can watch Caitlin Clark not only break records and be one of the greatest college basketball players we've ever seen, despite what Jay Williams and others will say. But part of why we know them so well is not only their greatness, is because they're there for multiple years. You can follow their career. It's not one and done. It's not one great tournament, see you later. One great regular season, now they're off to the NBA. That is partly what is hurting college basketball, is that the turnover rate is so high. Forget about the transfer portal, because that obviously is part of it as well. But just from the great players, the best programs, Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, a lot of those guys are there 1 year and then gone. It's rare when you get 2 or 3 year guys. So that's, I think, part of why college basketball, David, to your point, is not being talked about, as much outside of unfortunate situations like this. We have a national story where a player gets hurt after a court storming, and we're talking more about that than we are, let's just say, for example, yesterday, a great Houston-Baylor game, top 11 matchup. Houston goes on the road and beats Baylor in a great back-and-forth game in overtime. There's a reason why we're talking more about the court storming than we are just a great basketball game. Just the common fan does not know college basketball players. That's not like a slight. I mean, I'm in that boat. It's just tough to, keep up with all the movement, but also the fact that so many guys, anyone that's good or shows a pulse, is off to the NBA. There's no development. There's no story building behind their careers in college. That's at least part of it, David. But back to the original point here at 855-212-4227. I don't think court storming should be banned. Off of what happened yesterday at Wake Forest, change needs to happen. I'm not sitting here telling you all is well, nothing should change, suck it up, it's 1 in a million. I recognize the dangers of running onto the court with opposing players still on there. I get it. My solution is simple. Wait 10 seconds, allow the opposing team to get off the court, and then allow your home fans to rush on and celebrate. There is a world where you could celebrate a big upset win while also keeping players safe on the other team. I don't think court storming, or I should say banning court storming here is the answer. If you disagree, if you think that is the end of court storming in college basketball, make your case at 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227, at Ryan_Hickey, and the number 3 on Twitter is where you can chime in as well. We'll get your thoughts. You'll hear from Duke head coach Jon Scheyer. You'll hear from the man who right now is at the center of this controversy, Kyle Filipowski. You'll hear from Wake Forest head coach Steve Forbes on his take on his fans running on the court. And there's one other point I want to make. If we want to talk about blame, and changing things, we also got to acknowledge there's a whole lot of blame that goes to one specific department that I don't think is getting enough attention. I'll tell you what that is when we do return. It is Ryan Hickey here with you on a Sunday night, Hick at Night. Thanks for joining us right here on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
When are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing.
It's Hick at Night with Ryan Hickey.
That was the voice of Duke head coach Jon Scheyer, predictably and I think fairly upset that one of his best players now is hurt after not only Duke loses the game, but after the game in which that should have been prevented. I can't disagree with Jon Scheyer whatsoever. So that's why, for me at least, I don't think court storming is, or I should say banning court storming, is the answer, partly because I think there was a happy medium where both the players can get off and the fans can celebrate. But also I think we got to realize who truly is to blame here. The one or two students that made contact with Kyle Filipowski and caused the injuries, they are absolutely to blame. Absolutely to blame. You cannot be that stupid running out there and knocking into a player. That's number one. But number two, I think the other group that should be, blamed here is the Wake Forest security. Where are you? How do you not see this coming? How do you not prepare with Duke coming to town and realizing, our team's pretty damn good? We can have an upset here. And if we have an upset here, the fans are going to storm the court. Where are you? That's a bad job by them. Again, We have seen a ton of upsets in college basketball this year. We've seen a ton of top 10, top 15 teams go down on the road and have other fans storm the court. And up to this point in men's basketball, we've had no issues. Why? Because in large part, the security staff has done a great job of making sure the students are nowhere near the players and the players are basically guarded off. Let's just go back to Wednesday night. Creighton smoked number one UConn. Smoked them in Omaha. And you know what didn't happen? I know Danny Hurley got caught on that viral video telling a Creighton fan, "I'll knock you out." Obviously, that was not great, but that was verbal, and the fan was farther away. It was not face-to-face. But part of the reason why there was no incidents between Creighton fans and UConn players was because if you go back and watch the end of that game when the buzzer sounds, there is a wall of 10 to 15 security guards with a rope that basically roped in the UConn players and basically guarded off the UConn bench right to the tunnel. So fans are streaming on. There's a wall of security that prevents any fan from getting in between UConn's bench and the tunnel so the Huskies can walk off in peace and not have to, wade through what is a mass of humanity. The security at Creighton and a lot of other schools, by the way, this year in college basketball have done a great job at making sure players are separate from fans. The ball was dropped big time by Wake Forest. That's an awful job, and we cannot forget that here. We should not be talking about this in part because Wake Forest security should have done a way better job at corralling their students and making sure the Duke players were safe. That is a responsibility of the home team, and they dropped the ball big time. They should be to blame here. Absolutely. Kyle Filipowski, especially too, after the game, was giving his viewpoint, his vantage point of what happens, and this is not great. He is saying that he thinks that after the game he was targeted.
Really ridiculous of how, that situation's handled. I've already heard that there's some videos of getting punched in the back, and so I absolutely feel like it was personal, intentional for sure. Like I said, there's no reason where they see a big guy like me trying to work my way up the court and they can't just work around me. There's no excuse for that.
I agree. I'm with him. If you're leaving the court, I think it's assumed and expected, hey, you're just going to go around the guy and just run to center court to celebrate, not try to pick a fight with, a 6'9", 6'10" player. But like we kind of talked about in the open, you're in college, you're most likely drunk, you are right now high on life after taking down a top team. It's not shocking that all of a sudden there is an incident, which is why I think my solution is perfect. Wait a few seconds, get him off the court, and let's go. Let's celebrate. That, to me, is the best solution, not banning court storming. If you disagree, 855-212-4227. John is calling from Nashville. What's up, John?
Hey, Hickey. Good to talk to you.
Likewise, man. What's on your mind?
I am actually a security guard for 4 different professional sports teams, 3 college teams. So I have a unique perspective on this issue. And I absolutely believe that storming the court should be banned.
Should be banned. Okay, let's hear it.
There are too many elements, and I agree with what you said earlier. The Wake Forest security kind of dropped the ball there with allowing those people in, but a lot of times you're getting security firms that are, part-time guys, and they don't have the training or the wherewithal to handle a mass crowd like that. So
you don't think in your experience it's possible, as the game's going on, to warn fans to kind of come out with a minute or so left and be like, wait 20 seconds? You don't think in your mind it's possible that fans could be corralled, if you will, or just kind of told to wait 15 seconds and then go, You don't think that's a possible solution?
No, I do not.
All right, John, I appreciate the perspective, and you are someone that obviously would know working your line of field, so thank you for the call, and thank you for bringing that up. I think it is possible. I think I don't think it's a lot to ask or to just do a little extra to train security then, if that's the case, to warn fans and put it out there too on the PA system before the game, during the game, as a reminder, hey, you can't storm the court until, again, we're talking about like 10 seconds. We played the timer for you before. It's really not that long of a time. You don't lose any energy. You don't lose any exhilaration of rushing the court if you have to wait 10 or 15 seconds after the buzzer ends compared to buzzer ends and boom on the court. It's still a great scene. Again, we saw it at Georgia Tech. Go back, it had to be a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. Georgia Tech beat number 3 UNC. Go back and just watch the end. I watched it today on YouTube just to make sure I wasn't going crazy. It was literally 10 seconds. UNC walks off. Fans erupt on the floor. I can promise you, the jumping, the celebrating by waiting 10 seconds was not watered down or was not lessened in any stretch of the imagination. Luke's calling from Pittsburgh. What's up, Luke?
Hey, what's going on, man? I myself, I really just I do not think that they should ban storming the court. I like your getting the opposing team, off the court or whatever. But also, I just feel that it's such a fun moment. It's such an exhilarating time for a team to upset. And I just think that you shouldn't take that away from these kids. A lot of these kids, let's be real, they're not going to make, the NBA or anything like that. This may be one of their prime, this may be one of the biggest moments they get with their college playing career. And I don't think you should take that away from them. They'll remember that moment for life, all the fans and having fun. And what happened with the Duke player, it's unfortunate and it's horrible, but it's one of those things where it can happen. You can mess yourself up playing the game. You can mess yourself up walking down a flight of stairs. And I understand that there's more of a risk for whenever, a bunch of college kids are storming the court. But I don't think you should take that away from the players and organization whenever there's a huge upset. I think it's just within the game and it's just fun. And I think it would be a total shame if they took it away, honestly.
Luke, I could not agree more. Thank you for the call, buddy. And two, forget about the players for a second because, you're right. That is, for a lot of players, kind of that, let's say 10, 15 minutes of experiencing the joy with the fans on the court is maybe the highlight of their career. But it's also the highlight of a lot of fans' careers. A lot of fan, experiences at that college, especially if you go to a basketball school. And I think, part of what makes college sports different from the pros is stuff like this. Is that atmosphere. Is that just pure, unadulterated excitement that you get, especially from having student sections of, primarily 18 to 22-year-old kids. They're just excited to be there, fired up, and are proud when their team wins. From my perspective, Penn State basketball was never very good when I was there. They're not very good now, but even when I was there as a student for 4 years, they were good for once a year pulling off a top 10 upset at home. And so I was lucky enough one year when they beat Ohio State, who was number 10 or number 11 at the time with Aaron Kraft. There's a throwback for you. I was working the game, I was on the scores, at the scores desk. So I was right on the court working that game. Fans afterwards stormed the court. I was working. I didn't, but I was right there. It was awesome. That was one of the highlights of my college 4 years, was just being around that atmosphere of just pure joy when your team beats a top team. And so I don't think taking it away or banning it is the way to go. Again, I think there's a happy medium. I'm here advocating for player safety, not trying to tell you, screw the players, you lost, you basically walk your way out of there. You deserved, the fans running on the court. Player safety is important. I'm sitting here telling you player safety should be taken into account, and we have to do something. Something has to change from Saturday to make sure players are safer. With that said, though, there is also a world we can live in where players are safe and fans can celebrate. And I think living in that world is where we should go, but I don't think the answer is taking away one of the best parts of college basketball. Court storming, watching it on TV is fun. Being there in person is awesome. And it helps it helps them separate from the NBA. It's different. The sport itself is the same, but everything else around it, the pomp, the circumstance, the atmosphere, it's all different. Don't take away, don't detract from what makes your sport special in college basketball, which is the atmosphere and the fans. Protect players, but also allow the fans to celebrate. That's a happy medium we can live in. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. When we do return, you'll hear Steve Forbes. He had a really interesting take. The Wake Forest head coach, the guy whose team pulled off the upset. You'll hear what he has to say when it comes to his fans storming the court, as well as also, you see this video from Cam Newton? I got some advice for those out there after watching this video from Cam Newton that I think you want to adhere to. I'll give that to you next. It's Ryan Hickey right here on CBS Sports Radio. Here, though, with the latest CBS Sports Radio update is Peter Schwartz.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
And this report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers. Apply online today. Let's start in the NBA. We'll begin in New Orleans.
Left forward, DeRozan circle left. And he threw it away, but Vucevic picks it up, shot blocked. DeRozan pulls it down. DeRozan in the far corner. Comes up firing. Got it! Big time shot!
Chuck Swirsky, the call on Bulls Radio. Bulls over the Pelicans, 114-106. DeMar DeRozan with 24 points. Elsewhere, second quarter, Kings on top of the Clippers, 41-39. Also in the third, it's the Hornets leading the Blazers, 58-44. Finals, Jazz 128, Spurs 109. Nuggets over the Warriors, 119-103. Thunder 123, Rockets 110. Hawks 109, Magic 92. The Cavs over the Wizards, 114-105. Pacers 133, Mavs 111. Bucks over the Sixers, 119-98. And the Suns beat the Lakers 123-113. Now to college basketball and a stunning upset in New York City.
Creighton throws up the white flag on a whiteout. St. John's Johnny's Day here at Madison Square Garden. The clock runs down. St. John's has been looking for that signature win. They get it this afternoon on a whiteout. St. John's defeats Creighton 80-66.
John Minko on Learfield IMG. Also Purdue over Michigan 84-76 and Marquette beat Xavier 88-64. Women's college basketball, Iowa over Illinois 101-85. Caitlin Clark, her 16th career triple-double, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. In baseball, the Cubs and Cody Bellinger reportedly a 3-year, $80 million deal. Hockey, Rangers 10-game winning streak ends. They lose to the Blue Jackets 4-2. I'm Peter Schwartz.
Have a Take, the Jim Rome Show. Weekday afternoons on CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 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 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is Hick at Night.
I just want to first say that you guys always entertain me. I'm a bartender. I always drive home at night. I love you guys. You always entertain.
Here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
It is Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio, discussing why, despite what happened yesterday at Wake Forest, where unfortunately one of the best players in college basketball and Duke's best player in Kyle Filipowski, after Duke lost to Wake Forest, was hurt leaving the court because fans rushed the court, ran into him, twisted him all around, injured knee. Now his status going forward is TBD. So it's a sad and frustrating, honestly. We should not be talking about this, but we are. Frustrating scene that went down in Wake Forest. I think the happy medium to this is waiting 10, 15, 20 seconds for the players to clear off the court and then allowing the fans, once the opposing team is off, to rush on and have fun and celebrate. There's a world where both players are safe and also fans can celebrate their team's big win. Obviously, Kyle Filipowski after the game's upset about it. John Shire, their head coach, upset about it. But one person's voice I want you to hear is on the other side. Should be a joyful Steve Forbes, head coach of Wake Forest. Well, here's his take after his team knocked off number 8 Duke, and his fans obviously were involved in the injury to Filipowski after the game. Here's Steve Forbes' take when it comes to court storming.
I didn't see what happened at the end. I hope he's okay. I don't like court stormings. Never have. I've been a part of those before as a coach. I just don't feel safe. And I'm sure the next time that happens, we'll do a better job of taking care of that situation.
Wake Forest security definitely has to do a better job if there is a next time this year or upcoming soon. But he also, like what he said, he doesn't like it because he doesn't feel safe. Well, once you're in the locker room, I'm sure you feel safe. Get him off the court, get him to the locker room, and then let fans celebrate. We don't have to take away court storming because two idiots at Wake Forest ruined it for everybody else. There's a world where both can live. Now, I talked about my experience at Penn State working a game on the court in which Penn State upset Ohio State and fans charged on. Chris Hess, producing tonight, also just happens to be a Penn State alum. Let's go. Penn State in the house today. But, Chris, you were actually a fan involved in a court storming. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Let's hear the experience. What was it like?
It was ultimate thrill and the ultimate rush. I remember I had gotten to the Jordan Center pretty early that night. It was a whiteout in the BJC.
Okay.
Number 8 Ohio State was in town. This was the 2017-2018 season, the team that I think got snubbed of a tournament appearance, but maybe they shouldn't have lost to Ryder in the beginning of the year, but that's water under the bridge. Penn State not only wins, but destroys Ohio State 79-56. It is a bloodbath. And you knew the game was over at halftime. We're like, yeah, we're storming tonight. No doubt about it. And I remember when we stormed the court, we had to kind of like noodle our way to the sides of the student section.
Okay.
So I was sitting behind I think they had us behind the scorer's table.
Okay.
And we had to noodle our way to the sides of it. So the court storming looked kind of delayed, because we all had to file out towards the sides because there was no way in hell we were going to jump over the scorer's table. That was not happening.
Penn State is not smart. They put a majority of their student section, for those unaware, on the side. Like, most colleges put it behind the basket, especially the basket where in the second half the opponent's shooting from. I don't know why Penn State does this, Chris, but they put a lot of them on the baseline, which is, to your point, why you have to go around and you can't just run straight on.
And since the student section at Penn State, the Legion of Blue, isn't very big capacity-wise, they put the sides behind the baskets as extra student seating, as overflow. So those people got on the court first. I was probably in the group that was the last to get on the court. But regardless, at that point, I have a video of it too, and I just remember it's just a sea of white. But I was on the side of the court closest to the scorer's table. I couldn't see the players and what was going on after the fact. But the next thing I know is I see Penn State players on top of whatever table is on that side too, going crazy and all that. And Ohio State's already off the court at that point, that they made sure, I think security, if I remember correctly too, security was standing in a line separating the court storming and the post-game handshake line. And it was a quick post-game handshake line. And then at that point, all hell broke loose, that it was pandemonium in the Jordan Center, and that was it.
That's like, part of it is, I don't think we need the handshake line, especially like after an upset. You don't have to prolong anyone's time on the court more. But like, I think at this point, like, when you're just excited to be there, I think the quicker you can get the opponents off the court, the better it is for everybody. Better it is for them. Better it is for the fans too. Like, you just don't have to, you're not tempted, let's just say. Take temptation away from college kids. I think that is another lesson here that absolutely can be applied. 855-212-4227. James is calling from Baltimore. What's up, James?
Hey. Hello.
What's up, man? You are live on the radio.
No, yes, sir. So I love the show. I disagree, though. I think the court storming thing, I think it's one of these 1 in a million situations where, somebody gets hurt, and I think that's the end of it.
So you're done. No more. So you don't like my idea of wait, let's say 10 seconds, get the players off the court and go.
30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 people for 10 seconds. I think if it's that intense, I don't think that's a realistic, solution to the problem. I think once somebody goes down, I think that's the end of it. I played college sports. I wrestled, played a little bit of football. I remember we beat NC State, and it was an amazing thing. It was Phillip Rivers was the quarterback at the time. It was an overtime game. Everybody rushed the stadium. It was amazing. It was very cool, and I don't disagree that it's an amazing feeling, and, that's a great thing.
Did you do it yourself? You were on the field, too?
I played defensive end. I was on the field. I played on the team.
Right,
it was a great thing. The once somebody gets hurt, I think that's the end of it. You know, it's. I don't think you can control that many people like that. I don't think it's realistic. I like that you want to keep it going, but at the same time, I don't think. When somebody gets hurt, I think that's the end of it.
I hear you, James. I appreciate your perspective and your thoughts. What I would say, too, is it has to be a joint effort from everybody. Like, I would agree with James's premise that, hey, look, if there's 1 minute left and everyone's like, oh, we're going, baby. I don't think that's all of a sudden the time like, hey, guys, by the way, 10 seconds, you got to wait. Let's get the players off the court and let's go. This has to be, I think, a movement from all of, the NCAA, every single conference, every single team as a reminder. Like, I think if you put it in fans' heads enough, it becomes normal where you don't even think about it. And then it's just like, again, we played you the timer to start the show. Like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It sounds like a long time. Oh, the buzzer goes off. Like, I'm itching to get out there. No one's going to stop me. But if you really think about it, if there's a wall of, 10, 15 security guards, and again, remember, who is leading the charge first? It's students, right? It's not, the booster. It's in the front row that's sprinting on the court. You really only have one or two maybe entry points at the very beginning of where fans are going to run on the court in that, immediate aftermath that you have to prevent from running on. I don't think I'm oversimplifying it, but if you get the message out now and all the offseason, put this through fans' mind and train your security just to be like, whether it's a rope, whether it's extra bodies, hold. Okay, they're gone. All right, now come through. I think we're capable as human beings, as lovers of sports that honestly want to celebrate. This is coming from a position of joy. This is not coming from a position of anger where you see red and nothing's going to stop you. This is coming from a position of joy. Your team just knocked off a top 10 team. I want to go celebrate with my players. You're already happy. I don't think hearing from someone, wait. Okay, now you can go. I don't think it's ruining the experience. Or I don't think the fact that asking that is asking too much. I don't think it's asking too much of fans to kind of put the brakes on and then go. I know at times society seems like we're doomed. I think we are, as people, I'll say, we are capable of change and we are capable of having two things at once. Player safety, but also fan jubilation. That is my pitch. That is my solution. I hope anyone at the NCAA that has any sort of powers listening, free advice. I don't have to have the rule named after me. I don't need any recognition. Just implement it so that we can still keep a lot of what makes college basketball great. And having fans rush the court and celebrate a big upset will also at the same time making sure the opposing team gets off the court in a safe manner and we don't have what happened on Saturday to Duke happen to anybody else going forward. When we return here, Russell Wilson just spoke with I Am Athlete tonight and had a bold claim for his career. You'll hear it next. It's Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome in to the Hick at Night Show. Here's Ryan Hickey.
Welcome on in, Hick at Night. Ryan Hickey with you here on this Sunday evening. Welcome. Thank you for making us a part of it right here on CBS Sports Radio. Hopefully the weekend was fun, enjoyable, whether you're winding down a fun weekend, getting another work week started here. We appreciate you joining us right here on CBS Sports Radio. So this is interesting. We just had a little bit of a Sunday night news dump, if that makes sense. But Russell Wilson just recorded and released a podcast with I Am Athlete. Brandon Marshall is the host of that. I want to play that here first. Because Russell Wilson, let me tell you, right, his time in Denver seemingly is over. His house is up for sale. If you're interested in basically having a mansion where you can live in like 13 different bathrooms, that sounds like the house for you. Go for it. With the amount of facilities Russ has, I don't know why he needs that many, but hey, that's what you want. That's right up your alley. It's available. It is on the market. So Russell Wilson, I think right there is kind of telling you his time in Denver is up, but that does not mean his confidence is going down. Russell Wilson, again, talking to I Am Athlete, was giving his, let's say, 5-year projection, what he thinks he'll accomplish here in the next 5 years. Take a listen to Russ.
I got more fire than ever, honestly, especially over the past 2 years of what I've gone through. Whether it's in Denver or somewhere else, I hope it's in Denver. You know, I hope I get to finish there. I committed there. I wanted to be there. You know, I want to be there. For me, it's about winning. Over the next 5 years, I want to win 2. I want to feel the chill of that trophy again. You know, I love the city and everything else, but, you know, you also want to be a place that wants you too. So the thing that I want to do is win, man. That's all I care about.
He wants to win, wants to be in Denver, and like you heard here, he wants to win 2. Not 2 games in 5 years, 2 rings in 5 years. Lofty expectations. So what I want to ask you here at 855-212-4227 is, what team gives Russell Wilson the best chance to do that? If Russ is dead set on winning 2 Lombardis in the next 5 years, who gives him the best opportunity to do that? For me, it's the Seattle Seahawks. That is the best team. Going back where your career started, going back home is the best opportunity for Russ to win 2 rings in 5 years. But let's not hold him to that. To win a ring. Which team gives him the best chance to do that in the next 5 years? I think it's the Seahawks. First and foremost, this is on Russ. These next few weeks and months, right away, are going to show us how committed he is to winning. Because with that contract that he has with Denver, I think we can all assume at this point, he says, I want to stay in Denver. His time in Denver is over. And because of that, whether he's traded or cut, he is guaranteed $39 million this season. No matter what. So with that said, first and foremost, if Russ, which I believe he is, truly is committed to winning, that means he is not going to the team that's going to give him the highest amount of money. If anything, that means he's going to play for the veteran minimum. It's like $1.2 million, something like that. It's in that range. You take a $1 million, $2 million, $3 million contract. That'll truly show if you are in it for the rings or if you're in it for the money. I think he's in it to win. So I expect him and think he will take a lesser contract in order to allow cap space to build the team and to go to a spot where they have, the ability to add him onto an already good team. But here's why then, with that being the case, that being the opening premise, he is going to take less. He's not going to take a lot of money. Let me lay out why it makes the most sense for Russell Wilson next year to play in Seattle. Number one, he's better than Geno Smith. Well, let's be real here. He is better than Geno Smith. If you're the Seahawks and your options are Geno and Russ, I'm taking Russ 10 times out of 10. I think last year showed the NFL caught up to Geno. In 2022, when he had a career year, took the world by storm, led the Seahawks to the playoffs, in which no one expected that to happen. That was a one-year wonder. You look at his stats from this past season. Had 20 touchdown passes compared to 30 the year before. Passer rating was 92 this past season compared to 100 the year before that, 2022, his first year in Seattle. 3,600 passing yards last 2 years ago, 2022, 4,200 passing yards. His numbers dropped and dropped significantly. Why? The league has figured him out. Now the jig is up, if you will. Defensive coordinators know his tendencies. And now all of a sudden he's not having as much success. I think if you're Seattle, thinking that if you go with Geno next year, that you will get Geno Smith closer to 2022 that led you to the playoffs instead of 2023 where they did it, I think is foolish. I think you're fooling yourself thinking that you'll get the 2022 Geno Smith again. So I think for you, if you're Seattle, it makes the most sense to go with Russ, especially when you look at those numbers, by the way. 20 touchdown passes, 92 passer rating, 3,600 passing yards for Geno last season. Russ, all three of those categories, better. So Russ was better than Geno last year. Surpassed him in those categories. That's number one. Number two, when you look at actual fit, Russ fits this offense perfectly. I mean, look what you're working with here. Jackson Smith-Njigba, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker. I know a lot of those players were there when he was there just 3 years ago. Like, it's not that long, right? It's not that far removed. Most of them were there. But here's the big difference and why it would make a lot of sense. The guy who's calling the plays is different. Mike McDonald, right, just replaced Pete Carroll as head coach. He hired Ryan Grubb, who was the offensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies, who got to the national title game this past year. If you watched even just a little bit of the Huskies this past season, what did you see? Deep downfield passing. Consistent deep shots multiple times a game. What is Russell Wilson? What does he want to do? Where is he at his best? I would argue he's at his best play action, throwing the ball deep, having that moon ball, right? That patented Russ moon ball, deep ball, dropping that into DK, dropping that into Jackson Smith-Njigba, even a little bit with Tyler Lockett, who's getting older in the tooth, or I guess longer in the tooth is the right way to say it, but still has a little bit of get up as well. That is where Russ is at his best. And he fits what Ryan Grubb now coming in wants to do. He fits that new Seattle Seahawks offense. Gone are the days of Pete Carroll, conservative, run the ball, don't have the offense lose you the game. Let's play, play to win with our defense. Those days are gone. So now that Russ's biggest adversary is no longer there in Pete Carroll, he would come to Seattle and I think would fit perfectly in this offense. So he's better than Geno. You have weapons around you. You have an offensive philosophy that fits what you want to do. And then finally, to finish where we started, he's cheap. He's affordable. The Seahawks don't have a lot of cap space. They just had to redo Geno Smith's deal to open up about $5 million of cap space. But we just got the salary cap numbers. Record high. Jumped $30 million, the salary cap going to this year. So the salary cap exploded. You already got some wiggle room with Geno Smith's contract. And now you can bring Russ in for $2 million, $3 million. You're not bringing in a $30 or $40 million quarterback. You're bringing in a guy that's going to be on a cheaper deal than most backups. What's there not to like? What's there not to, to jump all over? That's why I think if you're Russ, when you look around at trying to win again and wanting to lift, as he said, that feel the chill of the Lombardi, I guess the trophy's cold. If you want to feel that again, I think the best spot for you to attain that is in Seattle. Going back home. The people that drove you out are gone. They're in need of a quarterback. Geno is figured out. And if you're looking to win, what other spot is he going to go to right now that he can win more with a better team around him than what you got right now in Seattle? If Atlanta wants to go for Justin Fields or Atlanta wants to be aggressive and get someone in the draft, well, that's a door shut for us. And also, he's older. So if you're Atlanta with a younger offense, right, with Pitts, with Bijan Robinson, and these guys that are, Drake London, all drafted within the last 3 or 4 years, and you want to get a younger quarterback to be on the same timeline as them, Russ is not your guy for that answer. So it's like, where else is he going to go? I think it makes the most sense. The Seattle Seahawks going back home with a guy that wasn't already, not there anymore in terms of Pete Carroll, where you have a new philosophy. Mike McDonald is young, is aggressive, coming over from Baltimore. Ryan Grubb fits exactly what Russ wants to do. For me, the best landing spot for Russell Wilson this offseason is the Seattle Seahawks. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. If you disagree, think of a better spot right now for Russ to go to and have success than Seattle. 855-212-4227 at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 on Twitter. Troy is calling from Pittsburgh. What's up, Troy?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, buddy. What's on your mind?
First, I think his best chance in winning the Super Bowl, and probably his only chance, is to back up Patrick Mahomes at the Chiefs. Russ has been falling off since he's been in Seattle. In terms of Seattle, I definitely disagree. One, I think that relationship is broken. Two, I think Seattle was set up in a prime position with some picks, and at 16, to go up and get a younger quarterback, you're talking about being cheap. This is the deal that, can last 3-4 years on a rookie deal with great wide receivers and a new coaching staff and a new scheme. So I think what's best for them is to move forward. There's been a lot of chatter in Pittsburgh about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I don't see that happening. That's just not what the Steelers do. They put their faith in Kenny. They're going to give him 1 year and try to get a quarterback that the fans would not chant to start over him, to give him a real shot. I think Russ needs to stay put. I don't think he can
stay
win
put
one,
in Denver.
What's that?
You said stay put in Denver?
Yes.
I don't
see any other team willing to take a 1 year, and it's kind of just shot in the dark 1 year for Russell Wilson. I don't think anybody at this point believes in him to give him 2 to 3 years with their franchise.
I appreciate the culture. I'm not even saying you have to sign him to a long-term deal. I think a 1 year, $3 million deal, I think there are plenty of teams that would sign up for that risk. What's the downside? Russ stinks. Okay, see you later. We're spending no money on you, and we'll move off of you and go somewhere else. I think there'll be a lot of teams in on a 1 year, $3 million, $5 million deal for Russell Wilson, and I don't see why he wouldn't take it if he actually is all about winning. He can't go to the team that's going to offer him the most. And also right now, to your point, Troy, I'll give you credit on this. I mean, his stock is so low, I'm not even sure how many teams are going to offer him more than $10 or $15 million. So he doesn't have any big-time deals, I think, at least out there. I think a lot of teams would be interested in a 1 year flyer for $5 or $10 million. Absolutely. That's number one. And I don't think right now Denver, staying in Denver is an option. I think they're done with him. I think Sean Payton is dead set on moving on, whether it's a quarterback in the draft, whether it's making a move for someone like Justin Fields. I think at this point that relationship between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson is done. Over. Again, Russ's house is on the market. Not that, I'm not on house hunters here. I'm not going to pretend to know the whereabouts of every athlete's listings and what their availability are. But I know, at least in terms of big-name quarterbacks, when Tom Brady's house in Boston was on the market, what happened? Tom Brady left. I don't think these guys are putting their houses on the market if they intended to stay in the city that they're playing for. And for Russell Wilson, I don't think he's putting his house on the market to still live in Denver and find another house. The guy's getting $39 million this year, guaranteed. And when you have, I don't think he's downsizing. And when you have 13 bathrooms in your house, I don't think you can upgrade anymore. So I don't think he's looking to get a new house in Denver. He's selling the house because I think he knows my time with the Broncos is over. And so if you're going to move on, I think for me the best landing spot, the place that he can have the most success in is Seattle. Now, to answer the question of will he actually succeed? Will he win? He says 2 in 5 years. Let's not even get crazy. Let's just say 1. If Russell Wilson goes to Seattle, let's just say he's there for 5 years. Could he win 1 Super Bowl in 5 years if he returns to Seattle? I'll give you my answer on the other side. 855-212-4227. What is the best landing spot for Russell Wilson? 855-212-4227. Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 on Twitter. I'll give you my thought. Can Russ win another Super Bowl? I'll answer that question next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is Hick at Night.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going, man? I always love your show. When I hear you, I got to pull over, man, because you just are spitting out some crazy facts, man. Just love your work, sir.
Here's Ryan Hickey.
Welcome in, Hick at Night. Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio. Good news, if you missed any part of the show up to this point, Hick at Night podcast, Night spelled Nite, is where you can catch up on all of the show audio-wise. And then video-wise, if you want to subscribe to the channel Ryan Hickey on YouTube, a lot of video content from this show, which right now is also streaming on the CBS Sports Radio YouTube page. So you can see me not only talking on the radio, also trying to fight off a cold, as you can tell probably by the voice and the congestion right now that I'm overcoming. Filled in for JR twice this week, Thursday, Friday, and both times my voice was hanging on for dear life. Today it's in a lot better shape, thankfully, so now it's more nasal congestion I'm fighting than I'm fighting, let's just say, scratchy throat. So at least I guess we're progressing in a better way for the radio, at least. But you can watch that right there, CBS Sports Radio live YouTube channels where we're streaming live as well. We're talking right now Russell Wilson and his future. Is this a guy who has just claimed before on the I Am Athlete podcast that he wants to win 2 Super Bowls in 5 years? Where is that then most likely? I think for me the answer is Seattle. His best chance at winning another ring, not as Troy and Pittsburgh called up before and said backing up Patrick Mahomes, just like Ron tweets at Ryan_Hickey in the number 3. Technically, the Chiefs asked Melvin Gordon and Montrell Harrison, former Broncos that went to the Chiefs to win rings. Ask them how easy it is. Yeah, he could go back up Mahomes and win a ring, absolutely. But in terms of starting, right, being the quarterback that leads the team to the Lombardi Trophy, where is a spot that is most likely for that to happen? I think it is the Seattle Seahawks. He's cheap. He fits that offense. He's an upgrade from Geno, and they got a lot of good weapons for him to use. I think the best spot at Russell Wilson having success and winning a ring is in Seattle. With that said, I do not see him ever winning another Super Bowl. This is coming from someone, by the way, hand up here, that 2 years ago, when he went to Denver for year number 1 with Nathaniel Hackett, I predicted in the preseason for the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. 0-1. Then, last year, doubled down in the sense that I picked the Broncos to make the playoffs. Just make it. Not win a game, not win the Super Bowl, just make the playoffs under Sean Payton. Obviously, we know it didn't happen, 0-2. So I am someone that has been more optimistic with Russ than others will say. 3 times, all right, what they say. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, now I guess I shamed myself last year. So I'm not going to get fooled the third time. As George Bush would say, I'm not getting fooled the third time. I don't think Russell Wilson, as a starter, can win another Super Bowl again. I think he can be a perennial playoff team with the Seattle Seahawks. I think he can win them a playoff game in the NFC postseason, but I don't think right now the Seahawks with Russell Wilson are better than the 49ers. I even at this point don't think they're better than the Eagles or the Lions. So I don't think Russell Wilson is ever leading his team to and winning a Super Bowl as a starter again. But in terms of the team with the best opportunity to do that, I think it is the Seattle Seahawks. I think he can be a playoff caliber quarterback again in Seattle, just not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. I think the best landing spot for Russell Wilson now that he is all but done in Denver is in Seattle. 855-212-4227. If you disagree, that is the number to call. Larry is calling from Florida. What's up, Larry?
Hey, how's it going?
Larry, we're living, man. I'm sure down in Florida on the beach, you're living as well.
I absolutely am, and my take on this is probably not going to come as a shocker, but
let's hear it then.
I would say the Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins. Is he
Miami
better than
Dolphins.
Tua? Why would you say that?
Well, what I would feel is I feel like, one, he is better than Tua. I'm not a Tua fan. I don't believe he's the guy. With Tua, I feel like the biggest flaw that we have with Tua is his lack of mobility. He can't extend plays. When you have receivers like Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, the offense that we run, I think it's pretty heavily predicated on being able to extend plays, and that's the one thing that Tua does not do whatsoever. If I had to rank all 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, I would probably rank him dead last when it comes to his ability to extend plays. Even more so than at one point we were talking about his arm strength. Can he throw the deep ball? I feel like his biggest thing is that he can't extend plays to the level that he needs to be able to hit wide receivers like Tyreek Hill. You know, being able to extend plays, that was his bread and butter when he played with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Granted, he's not Patrick Mahomes. I know, like nobody's Patrick Mahomes, but a lot of his effectiveness in Kansas City came from broken plays where the plays was extended by Patrick Mahomes, and I just don't think Tua can get that from him. And I think that Miami will be a pretty good shot for him to win. Of course, he will still have to get through Kansas City, and of course they would still have to beat Mahomes, and there's some great quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yes.
But I do feel like they would present a great opportunity for him to be able to win, because Miami has a team that's built to win right now, and I honestly feel like our quarterback is why we don't.
Larry, I actually agree with a lot of what you said. I was a big Tua fan, a big Tua believer, but I'm with you in the sense that not only mobility-wise, but just even his ability to play well against better opponents. Like, if you look at how Tua plays, or played, I should say, against the Jets, the Patriots, and the Panthers versus how he played against the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens, yeah, you'll see a totally different Tua. He is not someone that can play his best against the best teams. If I'm Miami, I would be more interested in Kirk Cousins than I would Russell Wilson. I think Russ is a bigger risk. I think he's a bigger boom or bust kind of guy. I know Kirk, you're talking about mobility. He does not have that either. But for me, at least, Kirk is more of a sure thing than Russell Wilson. Russ is a risk. Don't get me wrong here. Russ is a risk. But I think he's a risk worth taking because he's a cheap risk. Again, he's getting $39 million this season from the Denver Broncos no matter what. So that should mean, for someone who has talked about winning, that should mean that you're going to go to a team that's good for a discount. You're not going to go get the biggest contract you can. You're not going to go ask for a $45 million deal. Number one, you're not getting that. With how he's played the last, really, 3 years, he is not getting a $45 million a year deal. He's not even getting a $30 million deal. $30 million a year deal. So the deal's not going to be there for him in the first place. But also, too, when you're getting $40 million basically for the Broncos, why do you have to sign a big time contract from someone else? Why can't you, use that to your advantage, get $5 million, leave cap space otherwise for, to build a team around you and go ball out? I think Seattle, because of the conference they're in, would present a better opportunity for Russ to win than I do if he went to Miami. Dave's call from New Hampshire. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Mr. Hickey, first off, I want you to know you sound very good despite your cold. So
you're a good liar, Dave. Thank you.
So a couple of things. I think normally, given your track record, I think I would have bet against you. But I'll tell you, I think that that kind of money, $35,000 for him, guaranteed. He's just not going to be hungry enough to put out a good game. I don't see him doing anything with anybody, and so that's just it's more of a guess than anything.
Yeah, I don't think it's a money thing, Dave. I appreciate the call. I don't think he's now fattened up because he got that big contract from the Broncos a few years ago, and now he's stopped trying. I don't think Russ has sucked the last 2 years in Denver because he stopped trying. Because he was like a fat cat that said, okay, I got paid. Now, I'm going to loaf it in the offseason. I'm not going to fully dive into the playbook and try to win. I think he is still driven to win. I think he still cares about winning, and he is one of those professionals that he doesn't let money get to him. Now, we could argue maybe he's let fame get to his head and how he treats his teammates and how he, kind of appear sometimes on the red carpet, which is a different story. But I don't think he's lost the hunger to win. That I think is still there. I think there right now are just other issues with Russ's game as to why he has struggled specifically the last 2 years in Denver, none of which have to do with getting a fat contract. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. We'll take your thoughts on the best spot for Russ. Also, when we do return here, you see this video about Cam Newton? I learned at least one big lesson watching a bunch of high schoolers trying to fight Cam Newton. I'll tell you what it is when we do return. I can't believe I just said that sentence, but that is the world we're living in 2024. That is for sure. Ryan Hickey right here on CBS Sports Radio. Here with the latest CBS Sports Radio update is a man smart enough to not fight Cam Newton, and that is Peter Schwartz.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
This report sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. NBA fourth quarter, Kings on top of the Clippers, 89-80. Now to the finals, and we'll start in San Francisco.
Murray down the lane, kick out, Najee, top of the key, Brown three. Money! 105-94. Denver leads it by 11.
Jason Kosmicki on Nuggets Radio. Nuggets over the Warriors, 119-103. Nikola Jokic, his third straight triple-double, 32 points, 16 boards, 16 assists. Elsewhere, Hornets 93, Blazers 80. The Jazz over the Spurs, 128-109. Bulls 114, Pelicans 106. The Nuggets, I mentioned over the Warriors, 119-103. Thunder 123, Rockets 110, Hawks 109. Magic 92, the Cavs over the Wizards, 114-105. Pacers 133, Mavs 111. Bucks over the Sixers, 119-98. And the Suns beat the Lakers 123-113. Now to college basketball.
Rebounded Edey. He goes back to the basket. Count the basket in a foul. 30 points for Zach Edey. An and one opportunity.
Ball on Learfield IMG. Number 3, Purdue over Michigan, 84-76. Zach Edey, 35 points. Also, St. John's upsets number 15, Creighton, 80-66. Number 7, Marquette over Xavier, 88-64. In football, USC quarterback Caleb Williams reportedly not expected to throw at the scouting combine. Baseball, Cubs and Cody Bellinger reportedly agree on a 3-year, $80 million deal. NASCAR, the third closest finish in Cup Series history. Daniel Suarez edges out Ryan Blaney by 0.003 seconds to win at Atlanta. Hockey, Blue Jackets beat the Rangers 4-2, ending New York's 10-game winning streak. I'm Peter Schwartz.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, Perloff, at home, in your car, and of course, on your phone and tablet.
Maggie, you can find us on your local affiliate, Sirius XM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
Get 3 hours of Jim Rome, middays on CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is Hick at Night. Here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Now you want to trip, big fella. You not a drinker. I can see it all in your leg, big fella. You wobbly, big fella. You finna fall.
It is Hick at Night. Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio. Very fitting rejoin. Chris, I'm going to have a senior moment here for myself. I would like to impart some wisdom to you. You are what, 24 years old, 23 years old?
24 going on 25, my friend.
Let me give you some advice from someone whose life is over. Last night, let me give you the advice first. Hold on to that youthful exuberance you have. Never let it go. Never allow your age. Always act like you're 23. Because I will say yesterday, speaking of the rejoin just played drinking all night. What I did not do yesterday on my Saturday night was drink all night. I think last night was the first realization my life is over. You want to know how I spent my Saturday night, Chris? It was my friend's 30th birthday. Went to dinner, had drinks, amazing restaurant, food is awesome, drinks were great. Afterwards, we went out. Went to a bar like right down the street. It was like, it's a bar, but it's kind of like a club atmosphere in like the basement. You go down there. My immediate thought, I had two thoughts as soon as I walked downstairs and stepped into the venue. The music is too loud. The lights are too bright. I even had a third thought, it's too crowded in here. I sound like I'm 55 years old. I am 29. So I'm just telling you right now, from an older guy to a younger guy, please never be like me. The first three thoughts going through your head are music too loud, the lights are too bright, and it's too crowded. I hated myself. And I did not stay long. So please do not end up being like me. Let me be your role model to do the opposite of what you should be doing.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but ever since I graduated school, I've become a massive homebody. And on the nights where I don't work, I work predominantly nights and overnights here. On the nights that I don't work, I am usually in bed around 8 o'clock, rotting away, watching whatever. And that goes for whether my off day is a Tuesday night, a Friday night, a Saturday night. Yep, and that's what I did last night.
Man. Let me tell you. All right, so everyone listening, then, do not be like us here at CBS Sports Radio. We must sound like a bunch of losers. Oh my goodness gracious!
I've just lost I've just lost it for I'm not in school anymore, and the thought of going out, which I don't do. I still live at home on Long Island. I don't go out in the city that often, or I don't go out at all on Long Island, and just not really something I'm really interested in.
This segment of how not to be cool is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Well, smartly by you then, Chris, by staying inside that a lot, and for me at least going home early and complaining about the crowd and the volume, it means we then are not going to be in a situation like a few teenagers found themselves on Sunday. And that is fighting Cam Newton. Before we get to the video, in case you missed it here, some more advice here from yours truly. Especially in this day and age where phones are everywhere, right? Everyone is videoing everything you do. So with that said, if you feel the need to get into a fight and you say, I got to fight this guy, number one, it's probably going to be a video, so you better make sure you win. Number two, you better make sure, especially if you are somehow in a situation where you end up trying to fight a celebrity that people know, the video is definitely going to get out, so you better make sure you're going to win. And then finally, if you end up fighting an NFL player with multiple people, you and your friends decide we're going to try to jump a former NFL MVP, you better be damn sure you win. Because if you don't, when you don't, the internet is going to find out and you are going to get clowned. That seems like obvious information to have, but unfortunately, for it seemed like teenagers too, by the way, which is crazy, on Sunday, they did not heed that advice. So in case you didn't see this video, and if it's trending all over social media, so if you haven't seen it, it's very easy to find. Just type in Cam Newton wherever you are on social media. It'll pop up immediately. Cam Newton today looked to be at, it looked like a 7-on-7 football event. Now, the video is 22 seconds, and the video starts, at least the only video I've seen, the video starts when the fight is already happening here. And so the video I have seen starts at the bottom of the stairs, camera pointed up to the top of the stairs. It zooms in, and there is Cam Newton right there with three guys attacking him. Pushing one guy, takes a guy who's wearing a backpack, takes him by the straps of the backpack, throws him around like a rag doll, and throws him out of the frame. So three guys are trying to, we'll call it jump Cam Newton, it seems like. And Cam Newton is here in self-defense. One guy with the backpack gets ragdolled and thrown out of the screen by Cam. Then it kind of spills from the top of the stairs to like a grassy area by a gate. And that's where the video picks up. Three guys right there kind of corner Cam by the gate. I am watching right now. He has his right arm wrapped around one guy who's trying to punch him, but it kind of pins his arms there. He has his left hand pulling the hood down of another guy trying to fight him. A third guy has a direct shot at Cam and is not fighting him, throwing any punches. And then if this is not bad enough, these three guys are getting just ragdolled by Cam Newton. A fourth guy runs in out of nowhere and tries to land a punch on Cam and actually does land it, but still is to the point where once Cam Newton gets his bearings, is throwing these kids around before security kind of finally steps in here. Before security steps in and breaks it up. I have no idea what leads you to try to fight Cam Newton at a 7-on-7 event, especially when, again, from the one video we have, it's not exactly the clearest, but it looks to be high school kids that are like attending this event that are actually playing in the 7-on-7 that are attacking Cam Newton. In case you forgot, I know Cam's been out of the game for a little bit. He is still, first of all, jacked. He is also 6'5", 240. What are you doing thinking you are going to, even with three people, fight Cam Newton and think it's going to win? Could you ever see a situation, Chris, where you and even a few of your friends, I don't know what you're arguing about in the first place with Cam Newton that gets you to this point where you say, okay, I got no other option but to fight him? Still with three people, fighting a former NFL MVP that has run over linebackers for a career, that I don't see any sort of situation that could happen where you end up thinking, okay, this is the only thing I got to do. This makes sense.
It's more, now I have more of a question directed towards those kids. Well, two questions. Hey, moron, dummy, did that look good in your head? What in your right mind? You really thought you could try and jump 6'5", 240, maybe even 250-pound Cam Newton? What is wrong with you? And in reply to that, those kids getting ragdolled, I have this.
And the laughing is perfect because, like, there was a part of where Cam Newton, you can see him, like, smiling. Like, this is, like, easy work for him. Three high school dudes trying to take you down. Like, that's the equivalent of, like, the normal guy. Right? Like, I think I'm just a normal guy. I'm 5'11", 170 pounds. Like, not jacked. I'm just, like, I don't know, just, like, whatever. I'm a person, a normal guy. That's, like, the equivalent of, like, 3 5-year-olds running up to me trying to fight me. Like, you just, like, laugh as, like, these idiots think, like, oh, we got you now, as you're throwing them down, pushing you off of them. And I think the worst part about this for the kids is the fact that when you look at this video, Cam Newton looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. He is wearing, like, this hat where, like, his hair, like, sticks up from it. So, like, the top of that, like, he's, like, it is a cowboy hat or, like, a witch hat, if you will, where the top is cut out so his hair could come out. He is wearing that hat. The hat doesn't move an inch. The hat, again, being jumped by 3 or 4 guys, isn't even knocked off his head. So the guy's not even sweating as he's throwing 3 and 4 people off of him. What? These are honestly the 3 or 4 stupidest people on the planet. Thinking you could beat up Cam Newton. They are lucky Cam didn't swing back and he was just more in self-defense mode. That is pure stupidity. I've only gotten in one fight in my life. It was with a guy that was bigger than me, saying some things you shouldn't say to my girlfriend, and I stepped in. But even, like, I'll be honest, if Cam Newton said to my girlfriend, with that bigger guy that I only fight ever gotten and said to her, I'd say, you know what? Look, I love you. We got to get out of here. Because if you think I'm going to fight Cam Newton after he disrespected you, I'm sorry. That's just, I'm going to embarrass myself here. That's one where you take the L and you leave because you got a 6'5", 250-pound guy saying, you know, trying to fight you. That's never a battle you're going to win. Paul has some thoughts on this call from Westfield. What's up, Paul?
Hey, good evening, Ryan. My God, man, imagine the excuse. They better wake up in the camp that they're playing at football. Let's attack a legend, hero, and MVP of the Super Bowl. They must be hallucinating because I have audio where I was attacked in the restroom area by 6'5" and 270, and the banging of the bodies on the partitions and the walls is definitely noisy. And imagine they're little kids, they're little teenagers, and this is the saddest part. Imagine the celebrities, like John Stockton, could walk around, no one knew who he was. He looked like a choir boy. But a lot of these famous celebrities, there's imprints on them, and when people are under the influence, they have a negative reaction. That's why you need entourage and bodyguards. These kids are nuts nowadays, Mr. Hickey.
You're right, Paul, and I hope it's not a lack of respect. I appreciate the call. Again, we don't know what happened. This video just came out today, so we don't know what instigated it. Again, from what I could tell, Cam is in self-defense mode, so he doesn't seem like he's the aggressor where he's, instigating this fight. I'm not sure if things got heated on the field, whatever. But still, I think part of it is just a lack of respect. I think there is, I don't know if it's social media. I don't want to sound again like old guy on the block, being not even 30 yet. But I feel like there is, with the younger generation of social media, there is a less appreciation for elders or those that have, achieved things before you, where it's like that or straight delusion. I mean, even if you didn't know who Cam Newton was, you look at the size of him. That's got to be something where you said, you know what, fellas, not today. Well, let's just take the L and get out of here, because that's a battle. Even with 3 or 4 of us, we are not winning. Nick's call from Baltimore. What's up, Nick?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm from Baltimore City, born and raised, and I'm 45 years old. And I think there's a lot of times where young people, with the social media, will do things without even thinking about it, and then they don't realize who they're messing with. And just even in my life, I have boxing training. I've had issues where people they come up to you, they're aggressive, they want to start a fight, and then once you throw a real punch at them, once you show an athletic move to them, they're it's over. But I think Cam Newton's lucky that these kids didn't have weapons, and it was just like a stunt. I think these young kids do this stuff to just do stunts, because they know they get views.
Well, that's a good point, Nick. That is a good point, and I hope that's not what this is. I don't see how. I don't think that's the case here, because again, I don't see what you get to the benefit of by losing in a fight to Cam Newton. But you are right. Now with social media and likes and views and followers being so publicized and so quote unquote, I'm putting this in air quotes, important. It's not, but a lot of people think it is. That now, like you said, Nick, people do stupid things to get recognition. People do stupid things to get attention. I don't think that's what this is. I don't think they fought Cam Newton to get eyes on them. I don't see how that works in their favor in a positive way. But there is an overall thought. You see a lot of people do stupid things. Now here in New York City, what people do is ride the top of subway cars. People are dying just to get videos of it. It's stupid. But people do stupid things to get views. I don't think that's what this is. I really hope not. At least as well. All right, 855-212-4227. It is Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio. Earlier this week, there was talks about expanding the college football playoff in 2026. What is the perfect college football playoff format? I'll tell you next. Hick at Night with you right here, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Looking for a man after midnight? You've come to the right place. It's Hick at Night with Ryan Hickey.
And welcome on in to Hick at Night. Ryan Hickey with you on this Sunday. A happy Sunday. Thank you for finishing out the weekend strong with us right here on CBS Sports Radio. I want to backtrack here for a few days because earlier this week, we learned that the College Football Playoff Committee is meeting to determine what the best format should be when the College Football Playoff contract that it is set in place right now expires in 2026. So we have the 12-team playoff is in effect this year, in effect next year, and then for the 2026 season and beyond, we got nothing in place. So they are meeting now to get that format settled for the future. And that's why you heard, before we even go and start a 12-team playoff here this season, why you heard reports of a 14-team playoff, a 16-team playoff. And there's debates and discussions of what is the best playoff format for college football moving forward. I think, as a big college football fan, the best format for the college football playoff going forward is the one we're about to use. It's the one we're about to dive into right now in 2024. It is the 12-team college football playoff format. Here's why I think it's the best. Because it checks two boxes that the playoff, I think, needs to check in order to be at its best. To be truly serving the sport and its fans the best it possibly could, it needs to check two boxes. Inclusivity and maintaining the importance of the regular season. You have to have it big enough where fan bases feel like they can actually achieve it. The 4-team college football playoff, I mean, it was more of an invitational. There were 9, 8 schools at a given year that truly felt like they had an opportunity to make the playoff. Now going to 12, you open it up where on any given year, you could have 30 schools going into a season feeling like they have an opportunity to make the playoff. They have a chance just to compete for a national championship. That's all we're asking for, is a chance to compete. That's where I think that the playoff missed the boat with 4. It was too small where you really didn't give 95% of college football an opportunity just to compete. 12-team college football playoff does that, number one, but also the second box it checks is that it's not big enough where you still maintain the integrity of the regular season. You still keep the importance of the regular season there, so it's not watered down. So you don't lose meaningful games. I would argue, if anything, the 12-team format and how it's, or the 12-team playoff, I should say, and how it's formatted, makes it where the regular season is even more important now than it was in the past. Because what this 12-team model does and how it's formatted is make every single team, no matter where you are in the playoff, bubble, if you will, like, there or close to it, if you're competing for a playoff spot, it makes every single team still playing hard and still having something to play for. Teams at the top with this format still have to play through the season and still motivated to have important games down the stretch. Teams in the middle, same thing, and teams at the end, same thing. Let me explain. Because right now in this 12-team format, there is top 4 teams, I should say, have a bye. Teams 1, 2, 3, and 4, first round bye. How you get that first round bye is by winning your conference. You could only be a top 4 seed and only get a bye if you are a conference champion, which means then Georgia could be 12-0 in the regular season. Like, they were shooing to make the playoff, whether they win the SEC championship game or not. Or even going into the final game, for example, when Georgia plays Georgia Tech, they could go into that rivalry game and they say, okay, 11-0, we're going to make the playoff no matter what. But that game is still important because if Georgia wants a bye in the first round of the playoffs, they got to win that game and they got to win the conference championship game to be one of the top 4 seeds. So even though you could argue, with the 12-team format, come November, you could have 3 or 4 teams already feel like, oh yeah, we're going to make the playoff no matter what. That could be the case, but also their games are still important because if you miss one, like if you lose just one game, that could be the difference between you winning your conference and not, and that's the difference between playing a first-round game or having a bye. So you still keep teams at the top motivated, despite the fact that you could argue, well, their path to the playoff is easier. You still have, or I should say, you still don't lose the importance of their games. So teams at the top, top 5 of the rankings, let's just say, at late in the season, their games are still important. The teams in the middle, their games are still important because you could still argue, they'll make the playoff no matter what. So who cares? But seeds 5 through 8 in the first round of the playoffs have a home playoff game. That's important. Home field advantage in the first round is huge, especially in college football, with the atmosphere so amazing, and home field being, I would argue, college football, the greatest advantage in sports. College football home field is better than any other home field advantage in any other sport. So come playoff time, could you imagine if you have Death Valley for LSU late at night, or I guess Clemson too, they're both Death Valley, a night playoff game, that environment's going to be insane. Good luck to whatever team is on the road going to try to win in that environment. A whiteout at Penn State in a playoff game, good luck to whoever's walking in there. Oregon is one of the best home field advantages in all of college football. Good luck trying to win a road playoff game in Austin. So if you are not, let's say, on a path to win your conference, but you still feel like, oh yeah, we're 11-1, we're going to make the playoff, your games are still important because now you are fighting for, well, I got to make sure I get a home game in round number 1, and they're coming to me, not me going to them. So you keep the teams in the middle of the playoff hunt still playing meaningful games because now they're playing for home field advantage. And at the end, obviously you're fighting just to get in, right? Fighting to be one of the 12 teams making the playoffs. So if you're seeds 10, 11, or even 12, 13, 14, you're on the outside looking in, you're fighting for an opportunity to break in.
Hot lips, Hickey.
So it's like that. I don't think it's a hot take because if you look at this format, it checks, again, it now is more inclusive and allows more teams to believe they have a chance. And I think that optimism breeds interest. Like, I don't think it's a secret or a coincidence that last year was the most watched college football season ever. More eyeballs are watching college football regular season and postseason games than ever before. Why? I would argue in part because it was the most wide open it's been in like 30 years. NIL, transfer portal, a lot of people want to hate on it and saying it's ruined the sport. It's brought parity to college football. It's brought less predictability to a sport that's been predictable in terms of, you know, the best teams in the country for, again, since the turn of the century, for my lifetime. It's not a coincidence that people are watching when now the outcomes are anything but expected. And then 2, so now you're allowing more fan bases to believe they have a chance to make the playoff. And now you're also maintaining the integrity of the regular season because whether it's you're at the top fighting for a bye, whether you're kind of in the middle fighting for a home game, or you're at the end just fighting to get into the playoff, wherever you are, your games don't lose importance. Your games are still meaningful, and you, whether it's a big win or a big loss, has an impact on your playoff standing. You may not miss the playoff, right, if you lose a game. Like if you're Georgia and you lose the SEC title game, for example, this past year, you're still in the playoff, right? Like that, you losing that game does not eliminate you from the playoff like it did this past year. But what it does eliminate you from is having a first-round bye. That's important. So, like, if you look at the SEC title game, you could argue for Alabama and for Georgia, well, both are going to make the playoffs, so who really cares? Well, all of a sudden, Alabama winning that game would have gotten them a first-round bye. And Georgia losing that game has them now playing at home in the first round. That's a big difference. So, like, these games still matter. Even though it's easier to make the playoff, I would argue the regular season with this new format becomes even more important. So for me, that's the best format. The one we're about to embark on, the one that we are about to see instituted for the first time in the 2024 season, a 12-team college football playoff, for me is the best format. I don't want to go to 14. I don't want to go to 16. I don't think expanding it beyond 12 is good because I don't think you can incentivize teams to still have meaningful games late in the year because you're not going to have buys. You're not going to have the same kind of format that you have right now. I think what we have is perfect. I know we haven't seen it yet, so I can't say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But on paper, this seems perfect. I don't think expanding or shrinking the playoff is needed. I think what we're about to see right now, the 12-team playoff, is perfect for the sport of college football going forward here. If you disagree, 855-212-4227. A lot of people in college football seemingly do disagree with me, which is why we're hearing 14 teams, hearing 16 teams as possibilities for 2026 and beyond. I don't think we have to change because I think with what we're about to see this upcoming season, I think it's the perfect format. If you have a better format than the one we're about to see, a better college football playoff than the 12-team we're about to see, 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. social media at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. We will get your thoughts when we return. And also, I've heard this a lot. Expanded playoff is going to ruin the regular season. It's going to ruin college football. That I don't think is true. I just laid out to you why the 12-team playoff is actually going to be better for the regular season. But there is one thing that have come out of these college football playoff meetings that, if implemented, will absolutely, without a doubt, ruin the regular season. I'll tell you what that is when we do return. It is Ryan Hickey, Hick at Night, either right here on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's Hick at Night.
Hey, how you doing, Ryan? I want to tell you I love your show. I listen all the time.
Hey, how's it going? I appreciate you taking my call. I really love your stuff. You're nailing it again tonight like you usually do.
Where he makes some good points. Sometimes.
Steven is calling from our nation's capital. What's up, Steven?
You are so wrong about this.
Give Ryan your take at 855-212-4227.
Welcome on in, CBS Sports Radio. Ryan Hickey here with you. Appreciate you making us a part of your Sunday on CBS Sports Radio. Talking about the best size for the college football playoff format. We had 4 teams. We're about to go to 12 this season. They're already now talking about expanding the college football playoff field again this week, possibly going 14, maybe 16 teams right here in 2026 and beyond. I don't think expansion is needed, in part because I think we have the perfect system right here at 12. Top 4 teams are getting a bye. 5 through 8 have a home game. That, to me, is the best formula. You're inclusive, so you give teams reasons to believe, but also you're still making the regular season meaningful and important. That is the best of both worlds. I think that, to me, is what you should absolutely strive for if you're college football. One thing, though, they should not do. One thing I saw that, if you want to talk about ruining the regular season, this proposal, if approved, will do that. Multiple automatic qualifiers for conferences. So Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports is the one reporting this. He is reporting that the Big Ten is seeking up to 4 automatic qualifiers for the college football playoff. And it's assumed that the SEC, if the Big Ten gets that, will ask and get the same thing. So we could see the SEC and the Big Ten very shortly here be guaranteed 8 of 12 spots, 8 of 16 spots, 8 of 14 spots. Automatic qualifiers for me are no-go. That is the worst. That could easily be the worst thing to happen in college football in a long time, because automatic qualifiers make the regular season irrelevant. Already, right? If you just finish in the top 4 of your conference, you're guaranteed to be in. What you are doing right off the bat is saying the non-conference is irrelevant. You can go 0-3 in the non-conference, but if you finish within the top 4 of your conference schedule for 8 or 9 games, you are in the playoff. That's not what college football is about. College football is earning it on the field, not earning it just in conference play. This, to me, honestly, feels scared. This, to me, sounds like the Big Ten and the SEC are scared that they're not going to get every year a bunch of teams in. So they want to ensure that by having these automatic qualifiers instead of just earning it on the field. I mean, look, if let's just say we go to if we just say a 12. If we go to a 12-team format, odds are 9 years out of 10, we'll have multiple Big Ten teams and multiple SEC teams. I mean, they got 34 of the 40 best college football schools in their conferences. They're going to get 3 or 4 schools in each. You don't have to guarantee it. But I think guaranteeing it, you don't talk about watering down the regular season. That is what waters it down. Saying, it doesn't matter what you do in the non-conference. If you are just in the top 4 of your conference, that's good enough. Again, that eliminates the non-conference because it's irrelevant. You could lose 4 games. And we could be talking about a team that goes 7-5 because they lose 4 non-conference games and lose 1 conference game, but finish in the top 4 of the Big Ten or the SEC, and they are in the playoff. We could be talking about that possibility. So not only does it make the non-conference schedule irrelevant, but it also makes who you beat and who you lose to the same, like weighted the same. Like we both know if you beat Alabama or you beat Vanderbilt, they're 2 different wins. Right? One is viewed as a massive win. One is viewed as, oh yeah, you should beat that team. But in an era now, if the SEC goes to 4 automatic qualifiers, top 4 teams in the conference win, or I should say top 4 teams in the conference get in. Well, now you're saying, okay, just the conference record matters. Whether you beat Alabama or you beat Vanderbilt, it doesn't matter. A conference win is the same. In fact, it's not. And vice versa. If you lose to Alabama, okay, you could say depending on where you are, not a bad loss. If you lose to Vanderbilt, that's a horrible loss. But now that's going to be viewed the same? I don't like that. I think that's, it's all about ruining the regular season. It's not expansion, going from 4 to 12 teams that ruins the regular season. It's automatic qualifiers that make who you beat and who you lose to irrelevant and basically knocks out the entire non-conference schedule to make it meaningless. That is how you ruin the college football regular season. 855-212-4227. I, though, think the best format for the college football playoff is 12 teams. The format we're about to have, where the top 4 teams get a bye, so you're incentivized to finish out and win your conference. The next 4 teams, seeds 5 through 8, get a home game in round number 1. You are incentivizing, even though you're expanding, incentivizing every single game, so you make the playoff, or excuse me, you make the regular season meaningful from week 0 to conference championship weekend. That is the best of both worlds. More inclusion, same if not more importance for the regular season. 855-212-4227. If you are against expansion or a 12-team format, I want to hear why. 855-212-4227. Kareem's calling from Atlanta. What's up, Kareem?
Ryan, what's going on, my brother?
How we doing, big dog?
Hey, man, everything's good, man.
Nice.
So, man, awesome talking points you got going right now, man. Thanks for letting me chime in on the segment. So I got a few points on that on things, Ryan. So first, just to piggyback on what you were just saying the SEC and the Big Ten proposing automatic conference, automatic bids. I can kind of understand where they're coming from, and it's a money thing for that. If nothing else, it's a money grab.
Right, but like they're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, well, to an extent, right?
Most parts, yeah.
Yeah, to an extent. But here's my deal, and what I want to get clear on the 12-team playoff, right? So we got your Power Four conference champs, right? They will get the bye.
Well, right now, how it's phrased is the 4 highest ranked conference champions. Most likely, it's going to be the Power Four, but if the AAC champ, let's say
Central Florida.
Right. Thank you. I was going to say the movement. I was blanking for a second. If Central Florida is ranked 8th, and let's say Clemson wins the ACC and they're 9th, Central Florida's getting the bye.
But that's something you never see. You're not like Liberty, for instance, and teams out of those Group of 5 conferences. They rarely get that high up in the polls. I mean, and
Cincinnati did it in 2020 when they made the playoff, but it's rare when they were part of the AAC. It's rare.
Yeah, it's rare, right? It's an anomaly to see them get that high in the polls. So let's just say, Cincinnati gets in, and they're the AAC champ, right? They get in, and they are a number. And let's say they currently with 10 in the polls, but they're the conference champ with 1 loss, right? Let's just say they're the conference champ with 1 loss, and they're 10 in the polls. So they will then play 6 plays 10, right?
Well, it depends. Not necessarily. It depends, again, where it's formatted. Boy, so you're saying what? You're against that? You don't like the format?
No.
Is that your main
I
point?
like the format. I like the format. I'm just kind of wanting to kind of see how it's going to play out because you got teams. You got some conferences like the Big 12 next year. I can see the Big 12 conference champ easily with two losses easily.
Potentially.
Right? Whereas the SEC, I'm a SEC. I'm a Georgia guy. Man, you can get 2 losses in the SEC, and that's a gauntlet, right? And those 2 losses are going to be much better, much better, much better on your resume than a 2-loss Big 12 team. So
Right. I hear that, Kareem. Appreciate the call, buddy. It's also like we'll see how things play out. Number one, and number two, the 2-loss SEC team is going to probably make the playoff. Like, you still have a committee ranking the teams, and you still have 7 at-large bids here in this 12-team playoff. We could argue about the bye and who's going to get a home playoff game, but it's going to work itself out. I'm not too concerned about Utah getting a home playoff game or getting a bye and Georgia not. More times than not, it's going to work out on the field. I think we're going to be okay. John's call from Massachusetts. What's up, John?
Yes. Wanted to talk about the 16 format. I'd like it to be 16 with the top 16 ranked teams, like 16 would play one, and coaches would have a opportunity to vote and also fans, if they give a donation, to support the other sports in general for the college as a whole. And when you were
Wait, you want to give them a vote?
Yeah, they send in a donation that would go towards supporting the other sports in all the colleges. And it'd be up to maybe 20% for the total of all the fans, 20% for the coaches, and then the committee has 60%. That way, they would assume less blame if people didn't like who was picked to be in the 16-team format.
John, I am all for limiting the committees, and thank you for the call and the creativity. I'm all for limiting the committee's power, which I think in part is done by expanding the playoff and not having them just pick 4, but now pick 12. With that said, I am not here for giving fans voting power and basically allowing the richest donors for, at each school to pay them money. I like where your heart's at, where you're supporting other sports. So coming from a good place, but I can't sit here and pretend I'm for, let's allow the fans to vote. So now every Alabama donor or every Georgia donor or every Texas A&M donor, if they're 7-5, can donate money and have them, be able to receive votes now and have them vote Texas A&M number 1 in
at 5
a
and
playoff
7
poll. Right. It doesn't.
Gigamags, 5 and 7, number 1 in the country.
I
Woo-hoo!
like the creativity, John. I am not here, though, for giving fans power. I'll be honest. I'm a fan. Chris is a fan. We both went to Penn State. I'm not going to pretend to be objective. When it comes, if I have an opportunity to vote my team in, a lot of fans are going to vote their team in. I don't think making it an all-star ballot, where we have seen, by the way, even though the fan vote counts for some, we have seen players dominate the fan vote and be starters. Hockey, baseball, etc. I'm not here to kind of turn the playoff expansion into an all-star game voting. Don is calling from Dallas. What's up, Don?
How you doing, Ryan?
What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Not much. I really think that the college football playoff expansion is a good idea, though, because, I really hate to see 4 or 6 teams. There were 6 teams before, right?
No, just 4.
4, yeah, that's what I figured. I said to myself, this the college football playoff needs to expand a little bit more, and I'm glad they did, because I was happy my Longhorns made it, and I hope maybe this year will be the year for them coming up probably in 2025, I hope.
Well, they got a good team coming back, Don. I like Quinn Ewers come back. They got your boy Sark. Thank you for the call. Did really well in the transfer portal. But that's part of expanding is giving more teams an opportunity to believe. But again, you don't want to do that while also losing the importance of the regular season. And again, we started the show by talking about court storming, kind of bring it full circle here. A lot of people, after what happened on Saturday, want court storming to be banned. Do not want fans running on the court. It's it's all or nothing. I think there's a gray area where if you wait 10, 15 seconds, allow the opponents to leave the court, and then you storm it, you can have a situation where player safety is taken care of and still allow fans to have a good time and celebrate. There is a middle ground where both can be achieved. Just like in college football, there's a middle ground where you can expand the college football playoff while also maintaining the integrity of the regular season. Giving more teams hope and belief and a chance to make it, while also making sure every team's games, no matter what team you root for, are important from the start to the finish. And this format, by rewarding conference champions, by having the first 4 teams get a bye into the second round, that makes teams even like Ohio State and Georgia, who are going to be the 2 best teams in college football this upcoming year, it still makes every game they play important, because even if they're 11-0 or 12-0, if they don't win their conference championship game, they're not getting a bye. Period. Stop. They could be the number 1 team in the country. You lose your conference, you are not getting a bye. So those games now, even though you could argue at 11-0 or 12-0, they're going to be in the playoff no matter what, you're right about that. Losing one game is not going to knock them out, but losing one game could be the difference between having a bye or playing in the first round, having a home game or playing a road game. So there are still enough incentives built into an expanded playoff where you still have the importance and the integrity of the season there, while also giving more fan bases inclusion and more teams inclusion to competing for a championship. Chris to call from California. What's up, Chris?
Hey, how's it going, Bob? Great to hear your show.
Thanks, man. What's on your mind?
Well, I was flipping around the dial and I heard Kareem weighing in, and what he says. The SEC, you could have a 2-loss team. I mean, they might be the best team in the country. So I am all for this expansion. 16 teams is perfect. It's kind of like how before my time, but I heard March Madness basketball started out like 16 teams. And they expanded. Now what do we got? 64, 68 teams with 68. The wild cards. So this is going to be something great. And, I just, you look at college football is just crazy. You look at what's happened over the years. I mean, look at Nebraska, for instance, with Tom Ozzie Osborne. That guy started out as offensive coordinator. His only pay was getting to eat with the paid coaches steak dinners 3 times a week. And he was the offensive coordinator of Bob Devaney's 2 national title teams as he went out.
Yep.
And then Osborne takes this team next 30, 35 years or something.
Yeah.
And they're always in the conversation, but they can't win the big one. And then they started winning the big one. And you're a Penn State guy. This is how nuts it is. Penn State and Nebraska tied in 94. No losses. It was a big controversy. And Penn State had Kerry Collins, my guy. He took my New York Football Giants to the Super Bowl, overcame an alcohol problem. So I got no issue with him. But he's on national TV crying that Penn State was better than Nebraska because they played a tougher schedule.
And they were.
And then in 97, they tied with Michigan, 2 undefeated teams. I'm in Vegas on New Year's Day in 97, and I'm wearing a Nebraska T-shirt, and I got these Michigan fans coming up to me. We just crushed Washington State 14-7 or something. Where are they undisputed?
Yep.
And then meanwhile, Osborne goes down to the Orange Bowl and dismantles Peyton Manning in Tennessee like 42-3 or 42-6. And he got the sentimental vote because he announced his retirement. I mean, it's just crazy. You never know what's going to happen. This expense and the new coach, by the way, they started off quick this year. 5-2 or something that fell apart. But that 5-2 is a good sign. But they're in the Big Ten.
No, you're right about that, Chris. And thank you for the call. And I think I guess in part for the history lesson too. Like, we've come a long way. Like, I could not imagine living in a world where the national champion is voted upon, where there was no game to determine it, where it's like sports writers from all across the country are voting who the national champion is, and having like multiple teams claim national championships for one season is lunacy. So we've come a long way. But with that said, too, there is such thing as too much. College basketball is talking about expanding the NCAA tournament field to like 96. I think that's too much. Like, there is too much of a good thing. I think expanding the college football playoff, there is a number where it's like too much. I think for me, 12 is perfect. Anything beyond that, I would say waters down the regular season and starts to lose a little bit of value. What we got right now at 12, I think is perfect. I know we haven't seen it yet, so it's hard to say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at least for me, in my opinion, this looks perfect on paper. Why mess up a good thing? At least play it out to see how the first year goes. I think the last thing you want to do is have this be a massive hit, and it's like, oh, well, that was great, but guess what? One more year, then it's changing. I would hate that. That would really anger me. 855-212-4227. That is the number to call. It is Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio. When we return, we'll shift back to the NFL. There was a report I saw about arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Could he be available? Tell you what that report said when we do return. Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio. Here at the latest CBS Sports Radio update is Peter Schwartz.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
All right, let's start in the NBA, and we'll begin in Los Angeles.
Harrison Barnes, left corner for three. He's got the triple. Harrison Barnes for the fourth time tonight in 6 attempts from downtown has a 20-point ball game.
On Kings Radio, Kings over the Clippers 123-107. Darren Fox 33 points and Harrison Barnes adding 22. Elsewhere, Hornets 93, Blazers 80. Jazz over the Spurs 128-109. The Thunder beat the Rockets 123-110. Oklahoma City's won 5 in a row. The Nuggets beat the Warriors 119-103. Nikola Jokic with his third straight triple-double, 32 points, 16 rebounds, 16 assists. The Bulls over the Pelicans 114-106. Pacers 133, Mavs 111. Cavs over the Wizards 114-105. Hawks 109, Magic 92. The Suns beat the Lakers 123-113. And the Bucks over the Sixers 119-98. Giannis Antetokounmpo with 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. Now to college basketball, the stunning upset in New York City.
Creighton throws up the white flag on a whiteout. St. John's Johnny's Day here at Madison Square Garden. The clock runs down. St. John's has been looking for that signature win. They get it this afternoon on a whiteout. St. John's defeats Creighton 80-66.
John Minko on Learfield IMG. Also, number 3 Purdue over Michigan 84-76. Number 7 Marquette beat Xavier 88-64. Women's college hoops, number 4 Iowa over Illinois 101-85. Caitlin Clark, her 16th career triple-double, 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. In the NHL, Patrick Kane making his return to Chicago. He scores in overtime. Red Wings over the Blackhawks 3-2. Blue Jackets beat the Rangers 4-2, ending New York's 10-game winning streak. I'm Peter Schwartz.
Football season is over, but not for us. College football and the NFL are all year round on CBS Sports Radio. For continuing combine coverage, expect it here.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is Hick at Night. Here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
You rarely get breaking news at 12:46 a.m. on a Sunday night in February. We got some breaking news. Longtime NFL reporter, one of the best to ever do it, one of the most respected NFL reporters in league history. Peter King is retiring. And retiring, I guess, in the most Peter King fashion possible. I'm just scrolling through Twitter, making sure I don't miss anything during the break, and I just stumble upon Peter King, his latest Football Morning in America column, which he puts up around this time, at least during the season, puts it out late on Sunday, so it's ready for everyone to digest on Monday morning. And he just put this one out, and it's about his retirement. A whole column explaining why he's retiring, his looking back at his career. I mean, this is long, so I have not read. I mean, I've read just like the first few paragraphs. But he's hanging up. This is sad. That Football Morning in America column, before he used to be the Monday Morning Quarterback column he wrote for NBC, was like one of the few, that was like one of the few must reads every single week that you would have, because he got access and knew people better than any other reporter. Was able to, get players and coaches to open up to him more than they would to Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, whatever NFL insider or whatever NFL columnist you like. Peter King is the guy that I feel like would always get the most access, would always get the best reactions, would always have the best insight and information. Like, there would be so many times where insiders or other just people in the NFL game would find out what's going on with a team or a player or situation just based on Peter's column. Now that's no more. He has not said what he wants to do yet. He said he's retiring, but he wants to do other things. I don't know, but he didn't specify whether that's sports related or non-sports related. But as I started reading, kind of in like a deep, interesting way, started questioning basically, do I have more to life than just covering the NFL? It seems like in asking that question, he's kind of answering it by kind of seeming like yes. And now he's going to try to pursue that. But I'm very happy for Peter. 66 years old. I'm glad that, he's able to retire on his own terms and live life. Like, that's part of like what confuses me a little bit about guys like Bill Belichick. And in a way, like Nick Saban, why I was sad to see him go and retire. But in a way, I'm happy for him just because, like, you have all the success. You have all this money. It would be a shame in a way to not do anything with it. Right? Like, you've accomplished, Belichick, Saban, like, they've accomplished everything they've needed to achieve or accomplish in their respective sport. Right? They are the greatest Saban's the greatest college football head coach. Bill Belichick is the greatest NFL head coach of all time. So it's like, sure, you're always there to win more games, and you can always win more championships, and you can always win more games. But it's like, at what point is it just like, I'm 70, whatever, I got to, take a vacation, live life, not spend every waking second trying to break down a 4-3 defense or try to slow down Patrick Mahomes. So it's like, in a way, like, when you're so successful, it's just like, it feels like almost a waste if you just like don't see anything else in life. Don't like travel. Don't try something new. Don't have a hobby. Don't even just chill, relax. I feel like life is supposed to be enjoyed. And it's like, not that you don't enjoy your life. I mean, obviously, for guys like Peter King, who's done this, for almost 40 years. For Nick Saban, for Bill Belichick, who have coached their entire lives, like, obviously they enjoy it, right? Or else they wouldn't do it for so long. So it's not like you have no joy in life. You obviously love what you do. That's why you do it for forever. But it's like, there's plenty of other ways to like enjoy life, see things, have fun. And I hope that Saban gets to do that. I hope Bill Belichick gets to do that. And it sounds like Peter King's going to do it. So I'm really happy for Peter. Again, I don't know if he's going to just travel more, see his family more. He mentioned early on in the column, like, he wants to watch the Super Bowl from home. He's been to 40 Super Bowls in a row. So it's even the small things of just like, he's like, I've never like seen the commercials. I've never there's a broadcast, either Great Point or Snafu, like, he's missed that. So it's like, it is interesting in a way, like, when you're there, obviously being there is awesome. So it's not like it's like, it's not not in jail or not digging ditches. He's at the Super Bowl covering it. But it's like you do miss a lot of what like normal people and everyone else get to experience. So in a way that's interesting and different. And now I will say this because it's also kind of like with us here in sports radio and those who work in the sports media industry, like it is kind of similar in the fact that like, yes, we watch sports for a living. It is awesome. Like please, every day I wake up, it's the luckiest thing. Or I count my blessings of how lucky I am to be able to truly call watching sports a career and talking about sports a career. But I won't pretend like it is a job. Right? Like watching the Super Bowl, like you're not enjoying it. You're not like talking with people that are there if you go to a Super Bowl party or like drinking. Like you're like there like analyzing what's going on. And like at least for me, like I was on right after the Super Bowl. So it's like I left early and like it's like you're watching it differently because it's like, okay, what is going on where I can now talk about this? So it's like you're not watching the game just to watch the game, if that makes sense. You're watching the game of like, okay, what storylines can I highlight? What does this play mean for the rest of the game, for Patrick Mahomes' legacy, for Kyle Shanahan's legacy? Like, you do watch the game differently when you realize whether it's later that day or the next day that you have to talk about the game. Because just talking about the game is like, that's like not what we do here, if that makes sense. Like you don't just recap, and that was a crazy play. It's like, what does that mean? What can we all discuss now after that play happened that we can break down and digest and have a fun conversation with? Sometimes it's easy. The game writes itself, and all of a sudden after the game, whether it's a call, whether it's a play call, referee, like whatever, a big win, big loss, like it's easy. Other times you got to look ahead, be creative. So it's like it's a job. It's tough. But it's like any job. No matter what field you're in, if you love it, it's fun. But there are definitely, drawbacks to any job you have. So I'm happy for Peter King. Sad, again, like that column, even for how long it is, 10,000 words, how many different sections he had. The information, it was chock full of information. It was always a must read every single Monday morning after the Sunday games were done. So that's a big loss for the NFL community, big loss for us as fans who like to, digest that sort of information. But congrats. Peter King is, I guess it sort of sounds like a eulogy. He's alive. He's alive and well, is now entering into retirement. So sad loss for the NFL world, but I'm happy for Peter. Hopefully he does enjoy retirement, but Peter King officially retired. When we return, should court stormings after what happened on Saturday at Wake Forest be banned? I'll give you my answer next. It's Ryan Hickey right here, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's up all night with you.
We could do this all night.
Welcome aboard. It's Hick at Night with Ryan Hickey.
And welcome on in, Ryan Hickey here with you on this Sunday. Welcome. Appreciate you making us a part of, I guess, finishing the weekend, starting the work week. Either way, we're here to make this Sunday night / Monday morning a lot better for you. Thank you for all the different options you got. Million options. Podcasts, TV, music, politics. I don't know why you want to listen to politics on the radio, but plenty of people do. A lot of different options. Thank you for making us your option right here on CBS Sports Radio. Fun weekend for yours truly. Had a friend's birthday last night, so was able to celebrate. Little drinks, a little dinner. Nice night spent. Spent most of the Saturday cleaning my apartment, cleaning the shower, which is always a lot of fun, doing laundry. So overdue. It was nice to kind of finally check it off the list. Can't say it was exactly enjoyable, but nonetheless, a fun weekend, all things considered. What wasn't a fun weekend, though, is what happened, unfortunately, at Wake Forest. After Wake Forest upset number 8 Duke, you had the fans storm the court. Kyle Filipowski, best player on Duke, gets hurt as the fans kind of storm on there, and now his status going forward is MIA. And since that injury, since that incident, midday on Saturday, the last, we'll call it 36 hours, have been spent by people saying, stop and ban court stormings. No more fans on the court. It's dangerous. It's ridiculous. We cannot have this happen. I could not disagree more. We need court storming in college basketball. Court stormings are great for college basketball. It's part, I should say, of what makes the sport so special, so fun, so exciting. With that said, though, there does need to be change. We do have to protect the players. But I have a solution for you where the players can be protected while the fans also have their fun. You ready for it? It's very simple. The solution is wait 10 seconds, wait 15 seconds. After the buzzer sounds, get the opposing players off the court, and then allow the fans to storm. That's it. That's all you got to do. 10, 15-second buffer. Get the opposing coaches, players off the court, into the locker room, and then open the floodgates, let the fans come on the court and share in their celebration after beating one of the best teams in the country. There is a happy medium. It's very simple and very easy. And 10 seconds is no time. You're not losing any juice, right? It's not like ruining the moment. Court stormings are one of the best things that happen in college basketball. Waiting a few seconds for the fans to run on the court is not going to take away from that. If we want to demonstrate, we can demonstrate. We'll do it really fast here. Let's have it in a fantasy world. Since I'm a Penn State alum, we'll make it all about me. Penn State's playing number 1 Purdue. They're playing at Penn State. They're about to pull off the upset here. I have a ticker. I'll play it for you. We'll have a little countdown. Buzzer sounds, 10 seconds, and then boom, the fans run on. Just to show you, in case you doubt me, how little time it is for the buzzer to get the players off the court here. Let's act it out. All right. I'll be the play-by-play guy. Well, let's get into scene here. 3, 2, 1. 5 seconds left. Penn State dribbling out the ball. They are going to beat number 1 Purdue. There's the buzzer. And Penn State has upset number 1 Purdue. And now here come the fans storming the court, going crazy, jumping, screaming, yelling, celebrating. What a scene we have right here in State College. That 10 seconds is nothing. It's plenty of time to get the players in a safe spot. We can get away with the handshake line. We don't have to shake hands after an upset. Get them right to the locker room. Just focus on their safety. Get the coaches out of there as well. And allow the fans to go crazy. Go nuts. That little 10-second gap is way more than enough time to get players away safely without taking away any excitement from the moment. That's a solution. We can live in a world where player safety and fan experience and jubilation live together. It's not mutually exclusive. It's not one or the other. Either we have to have court storming, screw the players, just hope it doesn't happen again, or it's not, we got to ban court storming. How dare the fans run on the court and put players at risk? We could never have this happen again. This is a disgrace. It's not one or the other. There's a middle ground. And the middle ground is, I think, what I just told you. We can absolutely live in both worlds. I think people that want to ban court storming are overreacting big time here. Let's not take away, because of what 2 idiots did at Wake Forest and running at Kyle Filipowski and unfortunately injuring him. Let's not let them take away from one of the greatest spectacles the sport has to offer. But college basketball is special in part because of the court stormings. You don't see it anywhere else. It's a fun and great scene. It's a few thousand students running onto the court, celebrating with their own players, excited after beating a top team. It's a great tradition. It's an awesome sight on TV. It's even better in person. Why take that away? Why take that experience away from players and fans alike, both sharing in a similar experience? Why take one of the greatest joys you could experience in college basketball away when it's still possible you can have that while also allowing players on the other team to be safe? Like, player safety is important. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that, what happened at Duke or against Duke, I should say, at Wake Forest doesn't matter. 1 in a million, it rarely happens, so let's just move on and pretend it didn't happen. Player safety has to be addressed. Like, I do think there has to be a change after what we saw on Saturday. I don't think it's very smart or wise to put players coming off a very heated game that are obviously upset they lost, putting them in a space where they are inches away from what are most likely drunk college kids celebrating the big win. Like, you can see how that on the surface adds up to a bad situation. And honestly, I think college basketball, in a way, is lucky we've not had more fracases, melees with the amount of court stormings we have had. So I do think change has to be made here. I don't think as soon as the buzzer hits 0 and having fans run on the court while the opponent most likely is still there, I don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's the best thing for everybody. Waiting, having I don't know what you want to call it, a grace period, if you will, for players to leave and then let the fans on is perfect. You keep one of the best scenes in all of sports alive while also keeping players on the other team safe. Who says no? Who says that's a bad idea? That's why anyone who's right here claiming you got to ban court storming, I think is overreacting. Because we don't have to live in an absolute world when it comes to this subject. You can look at it with a little bit of gray. It's not black or white. We can live in a world where both happen simultaneously. And I think the way you just laid it out gives us that. So I don't think what we saw Saturday means we have to ban court storming. I think we have to have a change in college sports, specifically college basketball, how we approach court storming. I do think we have to put mechanisms in place to keep the opposing players safe, but we can keep them safe while also at the same time allowing fans to celebrate, allowing for a great memory for players and fans alike. 855-212-4227. Do you think Saturday was the breaking point? Should court storming, after what happened where Duke's best player, Kyle Filipowski, unfortunately gets hurt? We don't know his timetable. I mean, there's a chance. There is a chance he can never play again this season. He's out for the rest of the year. I don't think that's the case, but it's possible. Is Saturday the last straw where you think court storming should be banned? Or is there a happy medium we could live in? 855-212-4227. Tony is calling from Toronto with an idea. What's up, Tony?
I like your idea. Unfortunately, as a fan, as a fanatic, you're not going to wait 10 seconds. You just beat the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed. You're not going to count down. You're going to storm. It's just not going to happen. Do I think that the storming is great? Yes, you want to celebrate with your team, the big win. But unfortunately, in all sport, it has to be banned, not only to protect the players. That was a one-off where the player unfortunately got hurt. Now, let's say the benches would have collapsed or something. You would have had a catastrophe with people getting trampled on, and it happened so quickly. I think, unfortunately, this has to be banned, and the only way you're going to fix it is if students or fans do something like that, the team should be penalized, and fans can't go watch their team for a year, or the team be fined. you got to look
well,
at
there
the
are
big
mechanisms already in place, Tony. Thank you for the call. Like the SEC, for example, fines schools like LSU this week when they beat Kentucky, storm the court, and LSU is fined, and actually the fine goes to Kentucky. So you're actually paying the other school. If your fans storm the court, I don't see how if you storm the court, let's just say, and you want to punish fans for doing so, good luck trying to chase down the 5,000 fans or so that run on the court. You're not going to, you make it 5. You make it 10. I don't say you're going to, track down most people, but you say it doesn't work. I would argue it's already happened. If you go back, anyone with an internet connection could go back and look on YouTube like I did today. Go watch the end of this year, about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. Georgia Tech upset at the time number 3 North Carolina. Game came down to the final play. Georgia Tech up by 1. North Carolina with the ball, missed the shot, game over. They're like legitimately 10 seconds. No one runs on the court. UNC players have to walk across the court to get to their locker room. And as soon as they're in the tunnel, fans explode onto the floor. Watch it. It happened this year. Fans waited for UNC. I think it's a good job by security there. Georgia Tech got them off the floor. And as soon as the Tar Heel players were gone, boom, floodgates open, fans were on. There's absolutely a way that we can train security. Tell the message to fans, by the way, it's a joint effort with every school, every conference, the entire NCAA pushing the message. Like, we can live in a world where I don't think fans can listen to a 10-second delay. Hey, wait 10 seconds. Security's there, kind of blocking the exits. Okay, they're gone. All right, here you go. Have at them. We can live in that world, no problem. I think it's very doable. Brendan's calling from Chicago. What's up, Brendan?
Hi. I have a feeling that athletic directors around the country are going to be have to have meetings with legal. There's a precedent that has just been set, and especially the next upcoming weeks, you're going to see heightened security, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Once from what I hear, they announced, please do not leave your seats and swarm the court. They do that for legal reasons, because it's an uncontrolled happening, and the person performing was exactly right. I mean, anything can happen with hundreds of people moving in different directions at different paces. There's alcohol involved. It's an uncontrolled scenario, and they're just leaving themselves open up for
a lawsuit,
litigious battles. Yeah, especially after this week, because there's a precedent that's been set.
I mean, I hope we don't get to this point, Brendan. Thank you for the call, buddy. I mean, the less involvement with lawyers in college sports, the better. Unless maybe I'm mistaken, I don't foresee, at least in the immediate future here, lawsuits and lawyers getting involved. But I also don't think, like you said, heightened security. I'm not anti-heightened security. If you are now a team that has to hire a few extra security guards, number one, hey, boost the economy. Number two, that's not the worst thing in the world. Let's also realize too, right? So if we break this down, who storms the court from where? Well, especially the first kids on the floor are always college kids, right? They're behind the basket usually for most student sections. They're the ones that are the most rambunctious. They're the ones that, for the most part, fill up the floor when fans storm. Usually, student sections in one side of the gym, right? Whatever basket that they're shooting on the second half, that's usually where the student section is. That's really the only area you have to control right from the start. So if you have to put 30 security officials with like a rope that basically ropes off the student section for, again, 10 or 15 seconds, I think it's doable. I don't think that's an impossible ask. Hold them back. And then as soon, again, part of it is communication. It's not just a minute before the game ends, fans, do not storm the court. Like you said, I would agree. It's for legal reasons. They say that. They know no one listens. But it's like an aggressive PR campaign, if you will, starting now. Hey, we're waiting till the other team clears out the floor, then you can go at them. If that message is communicated, I think more people are open to it than you realize. You're still letting them on the floor. You're not taking anything away. All you're doing is literally waiting 10 seconds. We just did the example before. That's no time. As soon as they're off the floor, boom, race on. It's easy. I don't think it's that big of an ask or that too tall of a task to get done and to accomplish. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. We'll get more of your thoughts here. Is it time to ban court storming? I say no. If you disagree, 855-212-4227. And Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 on Twitter. When we return here, you'll not only hear my voice, obviously, I'm Ryan Hickey talking to you. You also hear the voices of Kyle Filipowski, of John Shire, and Steve Forbes, the 2 head coaches and player involved in the incident yesterday with Duke and Wake Forest. Does Wake Forest's coach, Steve Forbes, think that court storming is bad? Well, you'll hear his answer next. It's Ryan Hickey with you right here, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
When are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing.
This is Hick at Night. Here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
That was the voice of Duke head coach Jon Scheyer, who clearly and understandably, I get it from his perspective, is upset that his player gets injured leaving the court after a loss. Now his status is up in the air and uncertain. I get why he's frustrated. And I think he's right in needing a change. Where I think Jon Scheyer is wrong is where he wants court storming banned. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we have to live in a world where fans are no longer allowed to run on the court after a big win. I think that's bad for college basketball, bad for fans, bad for players. A controlled environment is the best. By waiting for players to leave the court, that way there's, you know what we'll call it, there's no temptation. Because when you hear from Kyle Filipowski after the game, talk to WFMY TV, he feels, at least in his opinion, like the fans kind of were looking for him and almost in a way targeted him.
Really ridiculous of how, that situation's handled. I've already heard that there's some videos of getting punched in the back, and so I absolutely feel like it was personal, intentional for sure. Like I said, there's no reason where they see a big guy like me trying to work my way up the court and they can't just work around me. There's no excuse for that.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend fans are innocent. And you watch that video of the two Wake Forest idiots. That's what they exactly are. You try to push and hurt a player after a game like that, you're an absolute idiot. Say it, to put it nicely. I mean, there's a lot of other words you could use, but I don't want to lose my job, so we won't use those words. But you can use your imagination what we're talking about here. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you really think about it, college kid, probably drunk, hyped up after a big win, and the opponent you just played is in front of you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you every single time the fan's going to just go out of their way and move around him and not try to be a jerk. Absolutely, there are people that want to antagonize and let you know, hey, we won. As a reminder, let me just, get in your face and yell at you or push you or whatever. I don't players should not be subject to that. So I'm not advocating for those interactions. Those interactions are dangerous. And honestly, when you really think about it, a shock that hasn't happened more. But before it happens again, and before things get worse or escalate, let's just diffuse the situation. Take the players off the court, then allow the fans to run on. Simple, simple, simple. Finally here, this is interesting to me. Now you see it from a perspective whose players were not affected. Right? Steve Forbes, winning head coach of Wake Forest. His students, if you want to call them his students, raced on the floor. Here's Steve's perspective on court storming.
I didn't see what happened at the end. You know, I hope he's okay. I don't like court stormings. Never have. I've been a part of those before as a coach. I just don't feel safe. And I'm sure the next time that happens, we'll do a better job of taking care of that situation.
That last part, for me, is the biggest thing. They're absolutely, first and foremost, has to be blame on the students that did this, right? Without a doubt. But right behind them, the blame then goes to Wake Forest security. They dropped the ball big time. Because the one thing they did not do was create an environment that was safe for Duke. Forget about preventing fans from running on the court. Not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about once they realize, oh, the fans are coming on, you better have an exit strategy for Duke. And I've seen plenty of court stormings this season. Just go back to Wednesday night. Earlier this week, Creighton took down number 1 UConn at home in Omaha. You know what Creighton security did? They formed a human security wall from the UConn bench to the UConn tunnel. So it was just the players walking out. They were not walking by fans. There was no way the fans were going to get in there and prevent them and get in their way from going to the locker room. So as fans are running on, there's a human wall there preventing any Creighton fans from interacting with UConn players. So while they didn't keep the fans off the court, they didn't give the opportunity for UConn to leave the court before they rushed the floor, Creighton security had a plan to make sure that the UConn players were safely able to leave. Wake Forest had no plan. They didn't know what the hell to do. I don't know if they panicked. I don't know if it was a lack of preparation. I don't know if they didn't think it was going to happen. I don't know. They dropped the ball, and they deserve a lot of blame as well for this incident happening, along with the 2 students that injured Kyle Filipowski. So I don't think, for me, the ultimate answer is banning court storming. I think the answer is waiting 10 seconds, getting the players off the floor, and then allowing your fans to go crazy. There is a happy medium. 855-212-4227. Mike is calling from Baltimore with some thoughts. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. What's on your mind?
I think it should be banned, man. I mean, it's just that you were talking about how the other week something happened where the fans was reserved and then they came out. I mean, I don't know, I didn't see that situation, but I mean, with the enthusiasm and all that stuff that happened, I mean, people just going to spontaneously do it. They're not going to. You're talking about having a 10-second fan storming clock or whatever. I just think the risk is not worth the reward. I think they should just ban it, man. Really.
I mean, a security wall, Mike. Just have a bunch of security guards there in front of the student section. Thank you for the call. I think we'll get the job done. But I don't think you're asking a lot. And if you missed it, again, YouTube, it's very simple to find. Georgia Tech, North Carolina from this year. Watch how long it takes the students to get on the court. It worked. We've already seen it in action. It works. Now we just got to implement it everywhere. I don't think banning it, though, is the answer. Anthony's calling from Dallas. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? I was that video of the Duke player, to me, I don't know about you, but it kind of looked like he looked right at that dude and then stuck his leg out, tried to leg check him, and injured himself in the meantime. And not a lot of people are mentioning that or talking about it. To me, that seemed like a self-inflicted injury, and now we're worrying about people storming the courts when he was being stupid.
I don't get that view, Anthony. I think it was more trying to avoid the rush than him, basically trying to be the aggressor and ended up, the other way around. I think he was just trying to leave, and in the mass chaos, didn't. I think I'm watching it again right now. I personally feel like it's more self-defense. He's walking sideways, right? He's trying to walk off the court from one end to the other. And as he's walking sideways, fans are running at him, trying to get to the center of the court. I think for me, it was more self-preservation than it was him being a jerk or an instigator and trying to, hurt the fans. But either way, I think this incident does bring to the point, like either way, whether it was on purpose, if you think that like Anthony does or not, I think we do need to address this issue of just like if it doesn't happen now, it's going to happen at some point. And I think what we want to do now is get ahead of it, be proactive, and not wait to the point of like a malice at the palace, where all of a sudden you have a brawl between the opposing team and fans break out because they're just going crazy here. Let's not maybe get to that situation. So that's why I think we can live in a world where you can absolutely wait a small fraction of the time. Just get the players off the court. Just get them off. Forget the post-game handshake line. Get to the locker room. Game over. Now it's time to celebrate. That is attainable. That is doable. That's personally what I think we should see happen in college basketball moving forward. We will get to Sunday Scaries here on the other side of the break. We'll finish off, though, with Lynn in terms of court storming here. Lynn, call from Illinois. What's up, Lynn?
Yeah, I see that you have certain instances where you think it's going to go this way, and everything's going to be great, and that if they got a bunch of extra security guards, then everything will be okay. But what about like if a handicapped student is watching the game, or a very petite student is watching the game, and they start storming the court, and they get knocked down and they get killed? Is that what it takes for somebody to get killed to stop all this, or how do you feel about that?
No, I'm not here advocating for doing this until people have died. I mean, I could be wrong here. I've not seen anyone.
That happens over in the UK with soccer all the time.
Well, it's also easier to run into a basketball court. You're not climbing over things. You're not. It's not gymnastics. You're walking downstairs.
You say storming the court. They're just walking down the stairs. These drunk college kids, like you say, are just walking down the stairs.
Well, until you get on the court, yeah. No one's sprinting down the bleachers.
See, all this has everything you say has certain circumstances applied to it.
Lynn, do you leave the house like in bubble wrap? Is that the life we're living?
Not. No, I do not.
No, you're a fun guy. You like to live life.
Absolutely. I did a lot of things in my life, but I also believe that people should not be put in jeopardy.
I agree. We are on the same page with that, and thank you for the call. And I'm not trying to put lives in jeopardy here. We're trying to just have some damn fun. This is college basketball. We're having fun. Storming the court. Celebrating a win. I don't think we have to make this in terms of like a life or death situation of someone's going to get trampled to death. That, honestly, I'm not worried about because I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not going to live a life in terms of bubble wrap and be afraid to breathe. We can live here. And it comes to protecting players, getting them off the court, by the way, creates less havoc. It makes things even easier for students. You're not manipulating or dodging players as you're going on the court. You just beeline straight forward. I think we can absolutely live in a world here in 2024 and beyond where fans can run on the court, have a good time, celebrate a win, while also keeping players safe. Call me crazy. That's a world I think we can absolutely live in. All right, so when we do return here, Sunday Scaries. All right, we're getting ready for the work week. The anxiety is kicked in. It's the worst feeling in the world. Well, we're going to make you feel better. We got some examples of some you can't believe. You think you're having a bad day? Take a listen to some of these stories. Well, I'll tell you on the other side here. Hopefully lessen some of those Sunday scares and just realize people have it a lot worse than you probably do. That is for sure. When we do return right here, Hick and Nite, Ryan Hickey with you on CBS Sports Radio. Here, though, first, to get you updated on everything and what was a very busy Sunday in the world of sports, here's Peter Schwartz.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
We tip off with the NBA. Let's start in San Francisco.
Murray down the lane, kick out, Najee, top of the key, Brown three. Money! 105-94. Denver leads it by 11.
That was the call on Nuggets Radio. Nuggets over the Warriors 119-103. Elsewhere, Kings over the Clippers 123-107. Hornets 93, Blazers 80. The Jazz over the Spurs 128-109. Bulls 114, Pelicans 106. Thunder 123, Rockets 110. Hawks over the Magic 109-92. Cavs 114, Wizards 105. Pacers 133, Mavs 111. Suns over the Lakers 123-113. The Bucks beat the Sixers 119-98. Now to college basketball.
Rebounded Edey. He goes back to the basket. Count the basket in a foul. 30 points for Zach Edey. An and one opportunity.
The call on Learfield IMG, number 3 Purdue over Michigan 84-76. Zach Edey with 35 points. Also, St. John's upsets number 15 Creighton 80-66. And number 7 Marquette beat Xavier 88-64. Women's college basketball, number 4 Iowa over Illinois 101-85. Caitlin Clark with her 16th career triple-double, 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. From the NFL, USC quarterback Caleb Williams is reportedly not expected to throw at the NFL scouting combine. Baseball, the Cubs and Cody Bellinger have reportedly agreed on a 3-year, $80 million deal. NASCAR was the third closest finish in Cup Series history. Daniel Suarez edging out Ryan Blaney by 0.003 seconds to win at Atlanta. Kyle Busch finished in third. NHL, Blue Jackets over the Rangers 4-2, ending New York's 10-game winning streak. Patrick Kane making his return to Chicago. He scores in overtime. Red Wings over the Blackhawks 3-2. Also Predators 4, Ducks 2. In overtime, Jets 4, Coyotes 3. And wins for the Sabres, Lightning, and Penguins. I'm Peter Schwartz.
This is Jim Rome. Have a strong take? Then I want to hear from you. Weekdays from 12 to 3 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is Hick at Night.
I just want to first say that you guys always entertain me. I'm a bartender. I always drive home at night. I love you guys. You always entertain.
Here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Welcome on in, Ryan Hickey here with you on CBS Sports Radio. If you're tuning in late, missed a large part of the show, not to fret. 2 ways to stay up to date with the show. Number one, download, subscribe to the Hick at Night podcast, Nite spelled N-I-T-E, available wherever you do get your pods. And also, YouTube channel name is Ryan Hickey. A lot of visual content getting posted to that channel, including a lot of court storming stuff we talked about today. So video-wise, Ryan Hickey channel on YouTube. Audio-wise, Hick at Night podcast, Nite spelled N-I-T-E, available wherever you do get your pods. And as you know, but just as a reminder, both are free. All right. So we try to close out the show the only way we know how to, each and every Sunday night. Everyone's got the Sunday scares. You're probably going through it right now if you're up and listening to us right now, dreading work, maybe dreading a big meeting. So to kind of ease some of that anxiety here, I like to highlight people who have it way worse than you do. It's time for Sunday Scaries.
The weekend is winding down. Hey, Ryan, who's got the Sunday Scaries this week?
People who go to the airport for fun. Let me ask you this, Chris. Would you ever want to go to an airport if you were not flying?
Absolutely not.
Not to go hang out. Saturday night, you're saying, all right, let's hit the town. Where do you guys want to go? Let's go to JFK. Isn't that what you're saying to your friends?
No.
I would agree. The last place I would ever want to be if I'm not traveling is an airport. But for those living in Orlando that love the Orlando airport, I guess there's a different breed. The Orlando airport announced recently they are selling a day pass. So you have to be TSA approved, but you can now buy a day pass and be able to go into the Orlando airport without a boarding pass to go look at the shops, go to the restaurants, and go, see art. You talk about being down bad. If you have to pay money in order to frequent the Orlando airport shops, restaurants, you're telling me if you live in Orlando You can't find anywhere else to go eat on a Saturday night where you have to go to the airport. I'm not a big traveler. I don't fly that much. Once or twice a year, maybe. So, I'm not frequently visiting other airports. But I ain't traveled enough to know this. The last place I ever want to be is an airport. I mean, just think about the logistics. They're close to nothing. So even if, let's just say, in a fantasy world, the airport had the best steak you've ever had in your life. So I got to have that steak. We're not traveling anytime soon, but damn it, I got to have it. Just getting out there, paying to go into the airport, driving out there is too much of a hassle, or I would say no. So who has the Sunday Scaries? Those that are buying day passes to go hang out at the Orlando airport. Well, just to spend a day. That is bad. What's also bad here in New York City is the amount of crime that happens on the subway system. Whether it's robberies, whether it's people jumping the turnstiles to avoid paying the $2.90 fare it takes or it costs to ride the subway. And the MTA, right, the people who run the subways here in New York City, they have had enough. They have announced that their big idea to limit subway crime, you ready for this? Is spending $21 million on, wait for it, light bulbs. That is right. New York City subway is trying to curtail, and I should say thinks they can curtail subway crime by replacing the light bulbs. They think that it would scare off criminals and help security cameras record reliable video of wrongdoing. This is a real quote. Richard Davey, New York City Transit president. Ready for this? Quote, "It's simple. A brighter station is a safer station," end quote, saying feedback from customers has been overwhelmingly positive. I'm not a criminal, so I don't know how the criminal thinks. I'm going to use our common sense here. I don't think the lightness of the lightness of a subway station is going to determine if a criminal wants to commit a crime. If he sees a target, he wants to attack and stab or rob or both. I don't think whether it's light or dark, whether it's LED or fluorescent lights, are going to be like, oh boy, can't do it. Sorry, they got the LEDs in. No way, can't do it. People are going to commit crimes whether if they want to do it or not. The lighting, I don't know one criminal who's ever said it was too bright. This is the biggest waste of $20 million I've ever seen. I mean, I take the subway all the time. Thankfully, I've never been robbed, but I see plenty of people jump the turnstile. Pisses me off so much. That's one thing, if I ever ran for president, I would make that the death penalty. That drives me crazy. People think that they're above paying $2.90. No. But there are subway workers at every station. There'd be a subway booth with a worker with a live person in there looking at the turnstiles. People jump it. No one cares. You're telling me now lights are going to stop crime? Boy, you talk about having it bad. We are screwed. We are screwed. All right. Is your relationship okay? Your significant other, hopefully, maybe you're in a little bit of a rut right now. Well, maybe this will cheer you up and hopefully, make you realize things are not as bad as it seems. There was just a recent proposal between rapper Yada and now his fiance. Here's the catch. Yada is currently in jail serving a 12-year sentence for a murder back in 2016. He just proposed to his fiance via video chat. He's in jail. She's somewhere where it's warm. And it's one of those robots with an iPad video to it. And he proposes to her through the camera. What I don't understand, that's whatever. That's technology, I guess. You're going to propose now, not in person, I guess maybe that's a new trend. But if you're the fiance, like, what's the point of getting engaged now? I think the murder happened in 2016. I'm not sure if he was sentenced in 2016, but let's just say he was. He's not getting out till 2028. You have 4 years to go. Why, if you were the girl, would you want to be the fiance engaged to a guy who's in jail for murder? Am I wrong here, Chris? Am I missing something?
I was just going to say, maybe it's fun. I don't know.
True love is true love.
I don't know what's going on in their heads. I mean, who says romance is dead?
I don't know how you get a ring, by the way, from the iPad. I don't know if the robot is designed yet in this day and age to put the ring on the finger. I don't think we've gotten there.
Just go buy a ring pop, I guess. I don't know.
But, like, saying yes to a proposal in jail when he's 4 years away, bare minimum. And also, like, murder someone. I'll just say this. If my girlfriend was a murderer, and she was in jail, and she proposed to me, let's just say roles reversed, I'm saying no. I'm not even dating her. This is a wacky world we live in. That's some Sunday scares. And also, finally, really fast here. Look, the MLB uniforms have gotten a lot of flack, rightfully so. They're awful and cheap. But how about this? Not only are the pants see-through, you can see a lot of sticks and balls, if you know what I mean, and not talking about on the field. There's also a pants shortage. Teams have to reuse pants from last year. Like the Cincinnati Reds don't have enough new pants to give to their players. They are reusing old pants. So not only are the pants bad and see-through, they didn't make enough. Like every day, there's a new story that makes this whole uniform debacle in Major League Baseball funnier, but also like more depressing. I'm like, this is a $1 billion operation, and they don't have enough pants for their players. That is this Sunday's edition of Sunday Scares right here on CBS Sports Radio. Hopefully that cheered up your Sunday. Hopefully now you have a little extra pep in your step going to work after realizing there's a lot of people have it worse than you. That'll do it for the show. Big thanks to Chris Hess for producing. A big thank you to you, I should say, for tuning in and making us a part of your Sunday. We'll talk to you next Sunday. Have a great rest of your week. It's been Ryan Hickey with you right here on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.